one. Now, this may be a challenging program for us to complete because it is raining in my current location, and I'm sure that many of you will hear the rain tapping in the background. But nevertheless, if the audio remains clear, we will attempt to complete this program in the rain. We will be talking in the rain. So while the rain continues on, we'll certainly make this attempt. And if folks in the audience suggest that the audio is difficult to hear because of the rain, then we may have to discontinue the program. But nevertheless, we want to talk about a couple things that have happened since we last talked on Friday. As you see, the program is titled, did President Biden, Joseph R. Biden, did he rename Easter? Now, Easter, obviously, every year on Sunday, first Sunday in, last in April, or better yet in March, or I don't know how it falls around, but Easter is it's not a static day. It's a dynamic day. So the date of Easter can change from year to year. Very similar to Thanksgiving. It's not on the same date like Christmas is always on the 25th. New Year's is always on the 1st. Easter is not that way. So what we're going to talk about is Biden mentioning Transgender Day of Visibility. Some folks are suggesting that Biden renamed Easter. What I want to talk about is, was that awful for him to do that? Was that disrespectful to Christians, the holiday itself? We're going to be talking about that also from a standpoint of context. Remember last week, we were discussing President Trump's bloodbath comment, where folks were suggesting that by using the term bloodbath, he was promoting violence, when it turns out he was suggesting that the auto industry would endure a bloodbath if he was not reelected. But folks were suggesting he was promoting violence. Well, I'm going to submit to you, and I want to hear your opinion, that Biden also was taken out of context. Here's the explanation. Transgender Day of Visibility was created during the Obama administration, 2009. Every year on March 31st, this is the day it will be observed. Transgender Day of Visibility, allegedly to talk about how they're discriminated against, a hell of a lot of the things that they believe they're facing. But that is what Transgender Day of Visibility is. It's a day that is observed every March 31st. Every March 31st since 2009, that day has been observed. Obviously, with Easter being a rotating holiday among the calendar, every several years, probably every 7 years or so, it's going to fall on Easter. So if you bring up Transgender Day of Visibility on the same day it happens to be Easter, folks are going to suggest you are renaming Easter. So what I want to ask you folks, very similar to the bloodbath comment coming from Trump, was Biden taken out of context? Keep in mind, this will be Biden took office in January of 2021. So he had an Easter in 2021. He had an Easter in 2022, one in 2023, and then this one. So he's had 4 Easters. He's never referred to Transgender Day of Visibility on any of the 3 prior Easters, even though every March 31st, the transgender community was still observing this day. Want to bring that up for folks who are suggesting that Biden is renaming Easter. Do you believe, because the 2 days fell on the same day, that perhaps Biden is being taken out of context? Now, keep in mind, even, what is the woman's name? Bruce Jenner or Caitlyn Jenner, whatever. That individual went on Twitter and chastised Biden for this as well. You know, Bruce or Kate Jenner or whatever her name is indeed a transgendered person, but they do lean right. Went online and certainly chastised Biden for bringing it up. But do you believe Biden is taken out of context for bringing up a day that occasionally falls on Easter? Or do you believe the Transgender Day of Visibility, anytime it does fall on Easter, the transgender community should not even bring it up? Just ignore it that year. What say you? Second topic, you know, we always have two topics. We'll go straight to the comment section after, but the second topic we're going to discuss also is, remember Colin Kaepernick taking a knee during the anthem? Many folks in mass suggested he was disrespecting the national anthem. Lately, you've had this lift every voice and sing. Folks are referring to it as a black national anthem. Many would suggest that that is indeed disrespectful to the actual original national anthem. Well, recently, President Trump has been in the news twice. First, coming out at a rally, asking folks to stand for the poorly treated folks who were convicted for the January 6th issue. While they stood, they played the national anthem with those incarcerated folks singing in the background, as opposed to putting his hand on his heart like we were taught to do. President Trump saluted while the anthem was being played, and they sang it in a different cadence. Now, just yesterday, President Trump, on his own social media page, I was about to say tweet, but on his own Truth Social, sends out a picture of President Biden hog-tied in the back of a pickup truck with the U.S. flag prominently displayed in the background. So the question we're going to be asking as a second topic is this: what is the litmus test? How do we judge when someone is disrespecting the flag? You got athletes taking a knee. You got a presidential contender posting a picture with the flag as a backdrop with the current president being hogtied. How do we decide what is disrespectful to the flag versus what is not? Want to ask you that question, folks. As always, tap the screen. Those are our topics for today. Get your boy likes up to 10,700 of you already in here. Looking in the comments right off the bat, what is that? I can't print up. Paredes or something says sellout. Let me know who I'm selling out to and how much am I collecting, because I don't see any of that right now. Program is, always will be, MAGA friendly. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. Liberals are welcome on the program as well. Understand we go left of Bernie Sanders to him having dinner with QAnon. We certainly believe in free speech. If you disagree with anybody in the comment section, disagree with the host. Nobody gives a damn. You're entitled to speak. That's how the program always has been ran. That's how it always will be run. So looking in the comments real quick, thank you for being a voice of reason, says Kat. I do appreciate that. Appreciate it. We are running it. So sorry, I don't quite get that. MAGA is constantly disrespecting the American flag. Face the facts. Yikes. Going straight to the box. Those two questions: did Biden rename Easter, and what is the litmus test to determine when somebody is disrespecting the flag? How do you figure that out? Going straight to the one and only Moo, starting it out. Good afternoon, rather. About to say good evening. Moo, good afternoon. Moo, are you there?
Hey, what's up, man? What's going on?
Not much, not much, you know. So, did Biden rename...
I'm here, man. What's up?
Yeah, did Biden rename the anthem Transgender Day of Visibility? Rename Easter, rather, Transgender Day of Visibility?
No, man, these are the same Christians who want to throw doctors and women in jail, right? They're looking for something to get mad about. They want someone to attack. They need something to get angry over. You know, again, this is just stupid shit. The right wing harbors these Christian morons, right, who get mad at abortion, who get mad at a day that switches days every year, and they want something to be angry about, and that's what this is all about, right?
Why are they just, now, according to you, they're just blindly seeking anger? Why would that be? Why would they just want to be angry?
Because that's all the Republicans have to get their base fired up, man. They don't have policy, right? They've never helped these people. Anger's all they have. You need to be angry at Jewish people. You need to be angry at LGBTQ people. You need to be angry at gay people. You need to be angry at transgender people. You know, you got to be angry at so many fucking people. I don't know how MAGA isn't exhausted from being so goddamn angry at every fucking buddy in the country, man.
Well, they seem to view Trump as directing this country along the right path. They're not angry on if they believe that Biden is destroying the country. So they're believing that that's what's leading them to be angry, is that Biden is taking us down the wrong path.
Yeah, but they don't actually care about the country, right? You know, they say America first, but they don't want people to have any social benefits. They would take away welfare, which most of them are on. They would take away Social Security, which most of them are on. They would take away disability, which a lot of them are on, right? So they don't care about America. It's all bullshit, right? All they have is this anger towards the people that I mentioned before. You even have one who's so stupid that they are a transgender going on Twitter about their own people, right? This is MAGA all over, man, right? Hispanics who join MAGA who go against their own self-interest, black people who join MAGA who go against their own self-interest, trans people who join MAGA who go against their own interests. I mean, it happens all the time.
But if you're suggesting that blacks, Hispanics, transgender, any of them that joins MAGA, as you say, quote unquote, going against your best interest, who would join MAGA and it would be favorable to them? Is MAGA against everybody's self-interest? I mean, clearly they got to be looking out for somebody.
White supremacists, Nazis, KKK members, they're all prime candidates and would do very well in MAGA because that's who MAGA's made for. It's made for white supremacists, man. MAGA is a Nazi movement. But don't get me wrong now. If MAGA actually succeeded in getting rid of all the people that they hated, they would go after people who don't seem white enough at that point. Because they always need someone to go after. They always need someone to hate. That's all they have.
So, I mean, you know, you're suggesting that MAGA operates in the best interest, as you say, of Nazis, KKK members, and white supremacists. Where are you getting that from? What makes you say that?
I mean, Duke, what's his name? Duke Dipshit, the head of the KKK, he endorsed Trump. Trump hangs out with people like Nick Fuentes, right? I mean, he hangs out with Nazis. Again, I've said this before. Steve Bannon is an admitted white supremacist, and that's one of Trump's main guys. Stephen Miller, one of Trump's main guys, is a Nazi. So, you know, if you hang out with them, obviously you either favor them or you are one of them, right?
I don't know, Moo. You got a lot of blacks, as you mentioned, Hispanics. I haven't heard of a lot of transgender being for Trump, but blacks and Hispanics, there's a fair bit of them. Certainly the likes of even Mike Tyson and folks like that are favoring.
You know, so in all fairness, right, you're not going to hear of a lot of gay people in the Republican Party, but they're there. They just don't say that they're gay, right? You're going to see a lot of transgender people in the Republican Party, but they don't say that they're transgender. Why? Because they'll get hated. They may even get unalived by these people because they are lunatics, and if your lifestyle is different than theirs, they want to use their religion, they want to use their feelings to try and get rid of you, right? Because they don't like you, they hate you. That's why you don't hear from them. So
why do you think if MAGA is such if MAGA is in the worst interest, I guess for lack of a better term, if MAGA does not have anything good for gays, blacks, or Hispanics, why are they joining them?
So a lot of these people think that, you know, and as silly as it's, I mean, it sounds stupid, right? They think that when this Armageddon, this white supremacist Armageddon is over, that Trump will come down from high and they will be his chosen one and he will take them with him on this wonderful white supremacist roller coaster ride and they will be his number one and they can stand by his side. But the reality is he don't like any of you fuckers. He doesn't like a one of you. He despises you. He talks shit about y'all off camera, which gets picked up on a hot mic a lot of the time. He's screwed y'all over plenty of times. He even had a lunch with a bunch of his supporters and stiffed them on the bill, right? He said he was going to let y'all out of jail when he was president initially for raiding the Capitol. He never did that, and he won't do it again. He's just playing y'all. He always plays y'all. That's why y'all are a bunch of suckers, man.
So you believe that even if Trump is reelected, he would not let the January 6th hostages out of prison?
No. He doesn't give a fuck about those people. They were pawns for him, man. That wasn't even the real game right there. He used those people as pawns so that he could pull off his fake elector scheme in the background. January 6th wasn't even the real deal. The real deal is the fake electors. That's the takeover of the government, not January 6th. That was a bunch of morons. Trump got riled up, and you guys are suckers for Trump. So y'all went along with it. Good job.
But when you're suggesting they're suckers, many would say they're suckers for a good economy. They're suckers for $2 gas. They're suckers for no wars.
So let me ask you, how do you enjoy a good economy in jail? Does the economy work for you when you're in prison?
Probably not.
That working well?
Probably not. But I'm talking about MAGA that is not incarcerated.
Well, I mean, how long is that going to be for? But yeah, I mean, it didn't benefit you guys in any way, right? All it did was make you look like tyrants, like a bunch of fascists. I mean, which you are. But, you showed your true colors that day, and you don't do that often. So, I mean, good on you guys, man. Would that you guys would actually own your Nazism more often so that you didn't have to gaslight people all the time, right?
But I mean, do you really believe, because you mentioned that if you are transgender or gay, being MAGA is against your best interest. Do you see Trump as being anti-gay?
Sure. I mean, the guy...
Based on what? What has he done that leads you to believe that?
Well, I mean, he's coming after transgender people, and a lot of transgender people are gay or straight or either way, but he comes after people with different lifestyles. So gay people's lifestyle are different than his. So... Yeah, it's natural for him that he would go after gay people.
So just to sum this up, Moo, you don't think Trump favors anyone but racist white people. Is that correct?
Correct, yeah. The Republican Party is really built around racist white people, right? And that all started with the Southern Initiative with Nixon and the creation of Fox News, right? They created a right-wing media channel to brainwash all these dumb fucks, which they've done at this point. And now they hate Democrats, even though they don't know why, right? They say stupid things like, oh, Joe Biden's blowing up the country, right? Because they hear all this bullshit on Fox News, and they've been brainwashed by the Southern strategy since, the late 60s, early 70s. So yeah, man, it's working out well for the Republican Party.
Oh my God, Moo, you started out horrible. All right, man. All right, you got my hands behind my back, but appreciate you coming on. You always start on a depressing note. I'm going to go to the right just to counter you, man.
Wait, real quick, man, real quick. He said that there's people in chat who said the Democrats started that. Bro, your party hasn't done anything good since Lincoln, right? You keep having to reach into the past because you don't have anything to stand on now. No one gives a fuck that the Democrats started the KKK. Y'all own it now.
Wow.
That's now. That was then.
All right, Moo. We'll leave it at that. Appreciate you coming on as always. Moving the program on. This guy is the kind of hate that is the issue, says Stefan on YouTube. So you see, okay, fair enough. We will go. Let me make something clear. We're going to have folks on that either you agree with totally or you think is just off the deep end. We believe in free speech. We believe in letting the people speak. What do we always say? Left of Bernie Sanders to having dinner with QAnon. There is no censorship here, folks. So understand that. If you prefer programs, you prefer social media pages where people are speaking in a way that you favor, unfortunately, this is not it. Everybody here gets to speak. Even if they totally disagree with yours truly, doesn't mean a damn thing. I do believe in free speech. Going back to the box, the question is, Transgender Day of Visibility. Did Biden rename Easter, as many are suggesting, disrespectful to the holiday, or was he taken out of context? And also we talked about Colin Kaepernick, taking a knee, folks viewing it as disrespectful. We talked about the Lift Every Voice and Sing, the so-called Black National Anthem, folks suggesting that was disrespectful to the current national anthem, the original. But now Trump comes out at a rally, ask everybody to stand for the poorly treated January 6th hostages while the national anthem is playing. He's singing it in a different cadence. He's saluting the anthem as opposed to putting his hand on his heart. And the background singers are all in federal prison for what happened on January 6th. In addition to that, just this weekend, he tweets out a picture of President Biden hog-tied in the back of a pickup truck with the American flag prominently displayed in the background. The question we're asking is, what is the litmus test? How do we judge when someone is disrespecting the flag? Because we talked about the athletes taking a knee of this black national anthem, but what is the litmus test? How do we judge when somebody is disrespecting the flag? Real Animal Barn, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
It's a pleasure to see you, man. I see that you're got an excitement for just letting folks just, speak their mind on particular issues. And this is one of those issues. I'm a conservative, staunch conservative, and I'm very particular and careful about saying that I'm Republican or Democrat because, quite frankly, I think these days it's hard to tell the difference.
Wow. Wait, you're saying it's hard to tell the difference between a Republican and a Democrat?
Yeah, but a true but there's the line is drawn between conservatives and liberals, Democrats and Republicans. There's no difference between the two. They're two wings of the same bird. But when we talk about values and the difference therein, we're discussing now. We're going into like conservatives and liberals. But what would be the difference between the two these days? And I'm the true nature of being conservative, but what is the difference between these two guys anymore? Because back in the old days, right, we used to have the Republicans, conservatives. They were, not about all these social issues, but they were the war party. And then you had the Democrats, the liberals, progressives, who were all about the social issues and were against war and peace and love. But now, all of a sudden, they've become, both of them are war parties.
Wait, what makes you suggest modern day Democrats are the war party?
Well, I mean, they're supporting all unanimously the same bills that are, quite frankly, bankrupting us to no end, that are all propping up these fake wars and fake problems. And you know what? I think probably even you could admit to me, because you have the Make America Great Pat thing back there, and you call yourself the handsome liberal, and you are, my friend. You're but I think we really need folks to get back to definitions.
I don't know if I followed it. I look at Joe Biden. I don't see anything conservative about him. I look at Mike Pence. Do you see Mike Pence as Democrat-like?
Well, like I said, there's really no difference between the two, and they're only different is in name only. But as far as values and as the real conservative nature of these folks, they're just not conservatives anymore.
Let me respond. And by the way, folks, tap the screen. I got over 1,100 of you in here, folks. Get your boy on up to around 25,000 likes. Helps out the algorithm. Same thing on YouTube. Smash that like button. I always solicit that occasionally during the program because it helps out the algorithm, brings in more MAGA. Here's the difference. Conservatives tend to believe in an unrestricted Second Amendment right. Liberals are different. Liberals are pro-choice. Conservatives are pro-life. I'm not seeing that these folks they're blurring the lines on this. Mike Pence is pro-life. He's not pro-choice in any way, fashion, or form. I don't see how you're not seeing this stuff.
Well, I mean, he's a part of the war party, the war machine, and he would be, he's not against abortion, or if you will, in the fullest sense of the way that you think. Like he won't come out. He says he's pro-life, but he makes abstentions. He makes like, well, but in the case of something like this or whatever, and it's like, that's not really being,
So what is in your opinion, you're based on your analyzation, where does Trump fall in the pro-choice, pro-life debate? Where do you think he lies?
Well, I mean, let's be honest, folks. I mean, I don't think he's as pro-life or pro-choice as we think he is. Because remember, who locked us down? Who introduced, the jibby jab into the world, and still, by the way, is patting himself on the back over this stuff. When, have we all forgotten that Joe Biden carrying on the mantle, but Mr. Trump, President Trump, started this event of the lockdowns and the shenanigans that we saw and the mental illness that we saw from that, and a lot of terror went on with this stuff, and so we're living in an upside down world where we're reaching for some kind of light at the end of the tunnel.
So let me, as a conservative yourself, suggesting that the lines have become blurred, is there anyone you believe would be a great leader for this nation? I mean, I'm assuming you're saying that Trump, you can't tell if he's Democrat or Republican. You're saying the same about Biden, I guess. Who do you think would be a good conservative leader for this nation?
Well, you remember, we live in a corporation. It's a little bit different than what it is in reality.
But have we ever not lived in a corporation?
You're right. We have. We had one event for a little while where we weren't a corporation. Everyone was sort of independent.
When?
But then it all kind of switched out in 1939 and the tail end of the 1800s. And there's a lot of... So as far as president of this corporation, I think the best kind of leadership for that would be someone who has a true conservative mindset, truly wants to make America great, but in the best sense, rather than blowing,
Give me a name. Give me a name.
Well, I think the names that would be worth coming up going forward, no better than to go forward for president, because those great guys...
I'm trying to get a name out of you. I'm trying to get a name.
I'd love to give you a name. Maybe you.
So you don't. So you don't know of anyone that fits your narrative of being a conservative that would be a good leader for this country. Not one person.
No, not as long. Not as long as they are pro-death, pro-war, open borders. As long as they are, or make any amends in any way, shape, or form to what we see is this deteriorating our country to no end. We're being bankrupt. We're bankrupt to death. People are, paying $5 some odd cents for gas and for eggs, and it's just unheard of, way of treatment on our own people. And you see what's going on overseas in these communist nations, and they're, in these socialist nations, and they appear to be able to purchase food at an appropriate, price, but they have a government that, secludes them from their ability to speak freely. So it's like, who do we put in that position? Maybe someone like yourself, but you know what, people like yourself, if you will, with all due respect, I don't really know you that well, I guess, but, maybe someone with that kind of remarkable strength.
So
stand on their principles.
So what did you, as a conservative, what did you think of Trump's first 4 years?
I liked it, but then he did some strange things that kind of bothered me, like when they started calling him Messiah, and he didn't really, push that back. That was kind of irritating. And then towards the tail end of his term, he brought, with to no fault of his own, I imagine, but coronavirus, if you will, and then the lockdown. And then the stuff started getting real wild, and he allowed and continued to propagate it even after most of us, I imagine, saw right through it. There, even the governor of Florida in March of 2020, just a few months after the nationwide shutdowns, he started seeing through it and going, all right, we're opening up. Right. We're not going to talk.
So you believe that neither Biden nor Trump should get reelected again?
I think that neither of them have earned their position there. Both of them should be tried for, acts against humanity or whatever you call that. Because again, remember billions of people in the world got this thing.
I do gotta move it on. But as a conservative, before I let you go, one last question: what did you think of the Bush years?
I think that they did not come out and tell anybody the truth of the fact of what happened there on 9/11, and those were the Bush years. And then it also, interestingly enough, happened during George Bush Sr.'s term as well. And turns out we found out that Osama bin Laden's getting a paycheck, from our people.
So you don't believe we've had a good president in America in your entire life?
the ones that we had were, unalived. Kennedy was.
I said your life. How old are you?
35.
All right. In your entire life, we've never had a good president. Am I correct?
Not one that was telling anyone the truth. So yes.
All right.
Right, probably.
All right. I do got to move it on, Real Animal. Come on back to
Nice
anytime.
meeting you, buddy. Thank you for letting me come by and say hello to you.
Anytime. Looking in the comment section, Bush and Trump left the economy worse than what they found it. Now, some folks believe that Trump had a much better economy than President Biden. Others believe he inherited that from Obama. So it really depends on who you ask. We're asking that question. I see Chuck said he's telling the truth in reference to my last caller. Obama was the best. Real quick in the comments, most of us probably, we're talking politics, most of us are probably at least 35 years of age. In your lifetime, you've probably lived through maybe Carter on up. Carter, Reagan, H.W., Clinton, Bill Clinton, or George W. Bush, then Obama, and now Trump, and now Biden. Out of your life, who was the best president for this country in your opinion? Out of the presidents that we've had while you were alive. I don't want to hear shit about Kennedy or Lincoln or somebody. We're talking about when you were alive. Who do you think was the best president? Looking in the comments, a hell of a lot of Obamas right off the bat. Wow. Okay, my audience may be a little bit more left than I originally thought. Going back to the box, Electric Wolf 45. Talking about Transgender Day of Visibility. Kanye West, best president, huh? That was cute. Wolf, good evening or good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm doing good. Transgender Day of Visibility. Did Biden rename Easter as folks are alleging?
Well, no, he didn't rename Easter. All he did was, because I guess it's always been there or whatever,
Yeah.
Visibility, but they must have been invisible because no one knew. Anyway,
Well, nobody wants to see them. They're shooting them when they appear on a beer can. They're throwing out the beer. Nobody wants to see the transgender community.
well, no, I think what it is we just don't mind. The thing is that we're not going to play pretend with them either. We're not going to do, like I said, I don't mind a person living their life how they're going to live. They want to live like a woman. They want to live like a man. Feel free.
Would you be okay? Hold on, let me tackle your statement. Would you be okay if you had a first grader with the teacher being transgender?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, as long as they don't start talking about that they're transgender.
Okay. All
As
right.
long as they teach them, and their scores better be number one in math, science, or whatever they're teaching. I'll tell you that.
I mean,
I don't want to see pride flags. I don't want to see inclusionary books and garbage like that. I want them to learn school stuff.
thank you for the fireworks speed racer. Well, I get that you want them to learn school stuff, but if your first grader came home and told you you got a lot of noise in the background there, man. Sound like you're counting pennies.
Sorry.
Yeah, sound like you're counting pennies. But your first grader comes home and tells you, my teacher, Miss So-and-so, is actually a man. We can tell. You have no problem with that as long as they're not discussing LGBT issues.
Well, I mean, that's going to be a discussion with the kid and find out exactly how they know he looks like him or whatever. I mean, it's kind of here. If it's a man like you dressed like a woman teaching, I'm going to have a problem with it.
Why?
I mean,
why?
I just don't. I don't have a good reason. I just don't agree.
Okay,
I mean,
and the reason I asked you that question, because you started out by saying we don't have a problem with transgender, we don't mind them living their lives, but now you're admitting, huh?
You didn't let me finish.
Okay, I did now. You just stated that
No. Let me finish my statement.
Oh, go ahead.
The thing is, I don't have a problem how you want to live your life. You can live it, whatever else. I can address you as Mr., Mrs., whatever in a social scene if that's the way you want to be addressed. Now, you want me to stand up on a soapbox and say yes, you're a woman or yes, you're a man? That's not going to happen.
Okay.
The thing is, I can't. You know what I mean? I can't justify that you're living a lie scientifically. Now, if you want to do it socially, whatever, I have a friend of mine who's transgender that I've known since we were babies. I mean, we were like 5-6 years old. And I went through, throughout the years that we saw each other and stuff like that, I saw her transition to a man. And she lives as a man. And I call him Jesse, my friend, and everything else, no problem. I never have an issue. But Jesse, in return, would never say, hey, I need you to say that I'm a man.
Well, let me ask. Okay, let me tackle that. All of a sudden, your teachers, or you better get your first graders teacher, Miss Smith. You show up and can clearly tell that's a man. Would you call them Mrs.?
Depending on the situation of the meeting, yes.
Okay, so you are acknowledging the transition then. If you're going to call someone you clearly know as a man, if you're willing to call them Mrs., then you're acknowledging it.
Well, no, the thing is, I would avoid it. I would just say yes, no, the answers like that, or yes, absolutely, whatever. But I wouldn't go out of my way to be like, oh, Mrs. So, no, I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
That I wouldn't do. I mean, it's just a social setting that you're going to have, depending. Now, if I'm there having a meeting because my son, daughter said something to them that was derogatory or whatever, I would still be upset if they're offended and stuff, because I would try to teach my kids better than that. But the thing is, it's kind of a slippery slope, because I don't know. It's just
so you don't see a lot of folks on the right are suggesting that Joe Biden, by bringing up this transgender day of visibility, disrespected Easter. Do you believe he disrespected? How so?
Absolutely, and he did it on purpose.
How did he do it?
It's like they said. I was educated over the weekend that the Trans Visibility Day is the 31st of March. I understand that. But why didn't he make that declaration last year when it didn't land on Easter? Why did he have to do it when it landed on Easter? He knew the controversy. His administration knows the controversy. His supporters know the controversy, because of the fact that that's what they're trying to push.
I don't know.
That's what I believe.
Okay, well, let me just say this. Folks in the comments are saying this as well. I'm not for certain, but I was going to respond by saying I'm not for sure he did not acknowledge it. I believe he probably did acknowledge it last year. It just wouldn't be covered.
No, but he made like a declaration, though. He made a declaration for Easter, and then on top of that, this is what, see, the problem that the transgender community, they should be pissed off at Joe Biden, not at conservatives, because Joe Biden and his administration is the one that's causing all this fervor towards them. Because on top of that, for the Easter thing, for the Easter roll, they said, oh, well, you can't have any religious markings on your eggs and stuff like that. Then what the left tries to do is say, well, he also meant you can't put pro-Palestine or pro-Jewish or pro-this, pro-Muslim, it's not, Easter's not about that. Easter is a Christian religion.
So let me make sure I get clarity, because you're saying that Biden is bringing all of this flack onto the transgender community. Do you believe the transgender community would be better off with Trump as president than Biden?
Yes.
Why?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because the thing is, he supports everybody, all Americans. He doesn't care whether you're gay, straight, everything else. The thing is he wants you to leave everybody alone, and he wants everybody to leave each other alone. That's simple. Let us live our lives. But when you're trying to force speech on people, you're trying to force beliefs on people, you can't do that.
What is okay?
Say, well, he's trying to push Americanism on him. Yeah, he is, because it's America.
What has Trump now?
Has their pride.
You mentioned that Trump supports everybody. What has Trump done, in your opinion, to suggest he supports the transgender community?
Because he went to the Middle East, sat in their backyard, and told them, you need to decriminalize homosexuality.
That's not.
We need to accept everyone. What else? What other president has done that right in the face of countries?
What has he done here?
Disbelief for that.
What has he done here in this country? What has he done?
He, as a representative of America, he said we need to decriminalize. On top of that, the first homosexual that was put into office with him in his administration was a gay man.
So
he had plenty of that. The thing is, just because he doesn't hire a transgender because they're transgender doesn't make him anti-transgender.
Yeah, but I'm asking you.
He puts the right people in the right place.
Yeah, but I'm asking you, what has he done to show support for the other? And you're going overseas. I'm
telling you, that's what he does. He treats them as equal. He treats them as Americans. That's all he has to do. He doesn't have to feed them pudding. He doesn't have to feed them their food. He doesn't have to kiss their ass to show that he's done something for them. If he fixes the economy, he's fixing it for everybody, not just for them, not just for me, not just for black, not not just for white. It's just for Americans. That's the way it should be. It doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, black, white, whatever. As long as you're American, that's who he should be working for.
Okay, so let me ask you this question. I wish I had the quote. I could probably bring it up pretty quick on my other tablet. But Trump stated that if he was president, he would ask Congress to pass a bill demanding that you have to go by the gender you had at birth on your license. That means that if you transition, the government will always see you as what you were born as, meaning by the government standards, you can't transition at all.
Yes, you're right, because you can't.
And you believe that
a man cannot become a woman, and a woman cannot become a man. It's that simple. It's science. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to change. They're not going to change your sex on a driver's license or a birth certificate because it's not true. And I understand that they may feel that they were born into the wrong body, everything. That I understand, and I wish them well. But the thing is, there's going to be stuff that you're going to have to live with. I want to be known as a rich white guy, but I'm a Latino who's middle class. But I'm not going to push it on anybody that I'm going to put myself as white, and you need to address me as white.
But the reason I'm asking you is because you mentioned it. Transgender folks would be better off if Trump was in office. But now you're acknowledging that by his standard, you can't even transition.
But that's not hurting them. That's just bringing them, slapping reality to them, saying that it's not going to happen. It's just the thing. Like again, I'm not going to feed you pudding because you want to be fed pudding.
How is that not? Wait a minute. How is that not hurt? If I want to transition to be a woman, and you're going to pass a law that prevents me from being recognized by the government as a woman in anything I do, how is that working in my favor?
It's not working against you either. It's not true. You're not a woman.
Okay.
You're not a man. It's that simple. I mean, it's just like that. It's not hard. It's just very simple. It's too simple, is what I'm saying.
Well, what you're basically saying is he would be better for transgender people, but he's not going to recognize you as a transgender at all.
Sure he is, because of the fact that if your birth certificate says male, you're living as a female. If your birth certificate says female and you're living as a male, you're a transgender. They're recognizing it.
No, they're not. If all of your documents, your license, everything else continues to go by your birth gender, you're not. You haven't transed in the idea of the government. All of your documents are going to say male forever.
But you're not going to being transgender. What is a driver's license on top of the fact that it's not true? The thing is, if you want to live as a woman, you can. But the thing is, you're not a woman. So it can't be on your birth certificate. It's that simple. No, if people want to address you, people want to treat you like a woman and stuff like that, hey, knock yourself out. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. A man who's transitioning needs to go to the restroom, and he goes into a male restroom, and male people in there are talking shit to him because he's doing the right thing. I will be the first person to defend him. Or her, and say, hey, she's doing the right thing. Same thing. Now, if a transition man from a female to man goes into the men's restroom, knock yourself out. Why? Because I have a bias of women and men. I don't like men in the girls' bathroom, but I don't mind transition men coming into a male bathroom to go to the bathroom. That's fine.
All right.
I know it sounds hypocritical.
Yeah, it is.
But because I see differences between men and women, and I believe we're here to protect women and little girls. That's
all right. All right. I got to move it on. I would love to talk to you further, but I got folks waiting. Appreciate it, Wolf.
Call me anytime you want, handsome.
Hey, it's always a pleasure, man. Good talk. Wolf is a friend of the program. We don't agree on the issue, but he's certainly always welcome back. Looking in the comments, though, I wonder if the caller who can pass for white has ever been persecuted for being Hispanic. It's an interesting question, Lee. I wish I'd have saw it. I would have asked Wolf. Now, before I go back to the box, I vehemently disagree with what he was saying. In my opinion, if I feel like I'm a woman inside and I want to transition to a female, but you're passing laws that prevent me from identifying as a woman on any government document, you're not on my side. He has a difference of opinion. Somehow he's saying, yes, I am on your side. I don't think there's any transgender individual that wants their documents to prevent them from transitioning. I don't see how that's on your side. We have a difference of agreement on that. And I saw a lot of folks in the comments were favoring what my last caller stated. So it is what it is. You know I don't block, ban, or censor anyone. By the way, tap the screen. 1,100 of you folks in here. Program is always will remain MAGA friendly. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome as well. Certainly get the likes up. We could probably do around 50,000 if you let your thumbs not be lazy. Same on YouTube. Feel free to smash that like button. Believe you have to hold it down for a couple seconds on YouTube. Going back to the box, he sounded Hispanic, not white. Okay, what about the fluid people? Oh my God, they would need a new driver's license every day. I've heard of LGBTQIA. I've never heard of fluid. I've never heard of an F in the alphabet. I've never heard of that. That's like saying that because I think you should stay poor and will never let you be anything but. At least I kind of see your point there. In my opinion, like I said, if somebody wants to transition to the opposite gender, I guarantee they want to change their documents as well. No denying. They don't want to be a transgender woman handing everybody documents that say they are a male. It just draws unwanted attention. It announces to the world that you are transgender. Maybe they don't want to go around announcing it. Maybe they just want to identify as the opposite sex. But by playing that game with their document and blocking them from making a change, you're forcing them to continue to announce that to everybody you hand a document to. I don't think the transgender community would see that as a plus. Looking in the comments, you can never change your DNA. That is absolutely true. Going back to the box, we'll continue with Lisa. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program, Lisa. Now, we're also going to get into when are you disrespecting the flag? Lisa, I'll ask you this question, but if you want to talk about the previous topic, you can. But let me just ask you this. With, Colin Kaepernick taking a knee, folks suggesting that is disrespectful to the flag. These so-called lift every voice and sing black national anthem folks suggest that too is disrespectful to the current national anthem. And then I brought up a couple weeks ago, Trump comes out at a rally and announces over the PA, please rise for the mistreated, January 6 hostages. They play the national anthem. Trump salutes as opposed to putting his hand on his heart, which is a different thing. He sings it in a different cadence, and the background singers are all convicts in federal prison. And the flag is there waving at the same time. Next, just this weekend, Trump tweets out a picture of President Biden hog-tied in the back of a pickup truck with the flag prominently displayed. I want to ask you this, Lisa. How do we judge when somebody is disrespecting the flag?
You know what? When you come up with the answer, let me know.
Yeah.
It is crazy. Yeah. It is crazy. I don't think anybody should disrespect it in any way. Everybody has their opinion on how the flag is disrespected. So I don't know how we can.
Do you see, now folks talk about the taking a knee and things like that, but if the president, or better yet, a presidential contender, which is what Trump is, if you tweet out a picture of the current president hogtied with the flag in the background, do you see that as disrespectful to the flag at all?
I do actually. I actually kind of do. Yeah. Especially when you are in a situation of power and have the bully pulpit. You shouldn't do that. You should be respectful to everybody. Yeah. You need to watch your P's and Q's. And yeah, we all know Trump and his big mouth, but everybody has their opinion.
Yeah. So I don't know if go ahead. Did you say something?
No, go ahead.
Okay. In regards to this transgender day of visibility, any chance that Biden was wrong for that?
Yes, I think so.
How so? Explain.
Well, number one, it just seems like this is just my opinion. It seems like the transgender is really against religion, and I'm actually atheist and gay, but I'm against that. It's a religious thing. It's been for over 2,000 years.
What's religious? You mean Easter?
Easter, yes.
Okay.
So I I don't know, to putting a group that is typically, not always, but typically against it, I don't know, I just think that was wrong. Just leave it alone and let the religion play itself out.
Now, you mentioned the notion that the transgender community are against religion. Folks in the comments wants to know, what makes you say that?
Just the stupid stuff that comes on TikTok and other media stuff. It just, and I don't want to paint with too big of a brush, but it just kind of like, this kind of seems like the way it is. That's just my opinion. It doesn't mean it's true.
No, so let me flip it around and ask it to you this way. First, we just addressed you suggesting that the transgender community is against the religion. Let me ask it to you this way: is religion against the transgender community?
I don't. You know what? I don't know. Well, they don't believe in it. So just because they don't believe in it doesn't mean they're going to be against you. Now, I have a lot of very religious friends. And when I came out, they accepted it. I mean, I got a little bit of, the you're going to hell thing. But outside of that...
Wait a minute. You said a little bit of you going to hell. You do know what hell is portrayed as, right?
Oh,
that's like, we're just going to throw you a little bit in lava. We just like falling in lava, a little bit of thing. You do realize you're burning in hell eternally. That's like the worst place you can go.
Yeah, they said their opinion, and it was done, and we're still great friends, and, it is what, and it's been forgotten about, and we're still friends.
So considering that hell is literally the worst place that religion can banish you to, if they're suggesting that gay people or the LGBT community is going to hell, how could you suggest they're not against it? I mean, there is no greater punishment they could reserve for you than hell. If they're telling you you're going to hell, how could you suggest they're not against them?
You know what? Oh God, how do I explain this? That's their belief, but that doesn't mean, it really doesn't put that they're against you, because I don't feel that my friends are against me.
What would they do if they're against you? Okay, you're saying that they're saying you're going to go to hell, but they are not necessarily against you. What would they do if they actually were against you?
They wouldn't be my friend. They wouldn't, come and help me out when I need help, or, just what a typical friend does. That's their opinion is fine. They said their opinion, and then that's it. They're like, hey, look, this is, what's going to happen in my belief, but I don't have that same belief. So
right.
We left it at that, and we're still great friends, like nothing ever happened, and I don't know, I can't explain it any different than that.
All right. I don't know. We got to where we were going. Go ahead.
No, I mean, does that make any sense? I mean, it's kind of hard, I still love them. They're my friends, and
and by the way, DJ Julio, thank you for the hat and mustache. That certainly did not go unnoticed. Appreciate that. No, the part about they're not against the gay community, but they're saying they're going to go to hell. I mean, if you're religious, aren't you against things that are going to send you to hell?
No, not necessarily. Just because you feel that something's going to happen to somebody doesn't mean you're against it.
Can you be a pastor of a church, or let's say, for instance, you're in the Catholic religion? Can you climb through the ranks of, priest, cardinal? Can you do that as a transgender person?
Ooh, I'm not religious. I don't know how that works.
Okay.
I know there is priests and stuff that are gay. I don't know if there's any transgender. I'm not that informed.
Okay, because the reason I'm asking that is if any promotions or any part of being in a church is off limits to you because you're transgender, that means you're specifically being targeted. I don't see how that would be someone you would suggest, well, they're not against me. Well, you can't do things straight people can do. That's punishment, is it not?
Is it a punishment or is it a rule? I don't know. That's a good point.
Well, punishments and rules are essentially the same thing. I mean, if you kill somebody, the rule is you're going to jail. I mean, it's punishment and it's also a rule.
So okay, with that, so let's say you have a good friend that committed a crime that you don't believe in. You don't believe in murder or going in and breaking into someone's house, right?
No.
But they go to jail. and you're against the crime, but does that mean that you're going to be against that person, this loved one, and now they're in jail?
As an I get your point. As an individual, no. But if I had a club, you know, like let's say for instance, I had a or something like that, and a friend of mine went out and committed a major felony, my club is going to be against him. We don't want you anywhere to. My club is against him. Like religion is not an individual. It's kind of like a club of sorts. It's a group of people or a group thought. And the thought process is against the LGBT community.
So you're saying just because you don't believe in something, that means you can't be for them? You have to be against them because you don't believe in what they're doing or what they believe in?
If I'm banished from your club because of what I do, your club is against me. There may be members of your club that like me as a person, but if I'm look at a perfect example. There were certain neighborhoods back in the day that black people couldn't move to. Your housing, what do they call it, the HOA or the homeowners association wouldn't let me live there. That don't mean everybody that lived in that neighborhood was racist. They may like me, but your HOA, your housing association, is against people like me. That's what I'm saying, is that the HOA would be comparable to the religion. The mindset of your group is against me.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying, but I don't know. The definition between, I don't know, Tim. I see your point, but I don't know if you see my point.
I do. I'd be curious to talk to some transgender folks and see how they feel, because my last caller suggested that Trump would be a better president for the LGBT community. I don't see it that way, but I'm not transgender, and it's certainly a group that I like to talk to hear their point on that. But I do got to move it on, though, Lisa. Appreciate you coming in. Come on back through.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, Tim. I always enjoy it.
Thank you. You're welcome. Are you serious? Do you realize March 31st was named Transgender Day 15 years ago, says Ross. Yeah, we brought that up. Started in the Obama administration, 2009. It certainly has been brought up before. Unfortunately, because it's March 31st, there will occasionally be days, about every 7 years or so, I assume, where Transgender Day of Visibility, what it's called, will fall on Easter. And because my opinion, now folks differ with me on this, but because in my opinion, I do believe the evangelicals and a lot of Christians do not favor that community, bringing up transgender on Easter is going to be insulting to them. That's a holiday reserved for Christ, the resurrection of God, or whatever the case may be. I'm not very religious, but I do believe they're going to find it. They're going to have a problem with it no matter anytime it comes up, because I, unlike my last caller, believe that Christianity overall has a problem with the transgender community, but other folks disagree. Looking in the comments, well, if it's that important to them, they should pick a day. Well, that was the day, March 31st. Now, understand, there's not a big love for the transgender community in America. There's a hell of a lot of folks that don't like them. It really doesn't matter what day they observe, what do they call it, discrimination or whatever, the reason the day was created. It wouldn't matter if it was March 31st or April 30th or February 2nd. Anytime it comes up, people are going to have a problem with it. Very similar to when President Biden made Juneteenth a holiday. Everybody in the damn country gets an additional holiday. You know how many people were pissed off about that? Why would you be pissed off about getting an extra holiday? I've done lives on it when the last 2 years has come up. Comments are loaded with people that are pissed off about Juneteenth. How could you get angry about getting an extra paid day off work? I did not understand that. Looking in the comments, or better yet, going to the box. By the way, folks, before we bring up the next guest, if you do enjoy civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle, without any concern of the host block, banning, or censoring you, you are in the right place. I encourage you to follow the program to my TikTok, folks, and certainly a subscription on YouTube. We're here Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Sock, thank you for the super chat on YouTube. Is there any way to get in contact with you or get on the show? It's coming from TikTok. So Sock, the audience members, the folks you hear calling in, all of that's on TikTok under the same name, The Handsome Liberal. Email address is on the actual page. So both of those ways. DJ Julio, thank you for the super chat there, by the way, Sock. DJ Julio, good afternoon. Like Moo said, they're always mad at something. Yikes. William Denby, good afternoon, Moo.
Nope, you got Julio.
Oh, sorry about that. Read the comment. My fault, DJ. Thank you. By the way, thank you, man. So you've been listening in. I'll give you the floor.
Yep. Yeah, I don't really agree with any of the I don't disagree with being transgender or any of that. That's a lifestyle. That's a feeling. That's go ahead and do that life. I don't. They put it near Easter for a reason because they wanted it to fall on Easter at one point. That's my opinion on it.
So you're like my last caller. You believe the transgender community has a problem with Christianity?
Well, yeah. And if I put myself in their shoes, why wouldn't I have a problem with Christianity? Christianity doesn't like my lifestyle.
Yeah. And that's what I thought the same thing. The minute my last caller said that they don't like religion, I'm like, why would you? That's the biggest pushback against the LGBT community. It's religious based, just like the biggest pushback against a woman's right to choose. It's coming from the religious base. I mean, so there are going to be folks that are going to dislike Christianity because it is trying to tell people how to live their lives.
I don't disagree with that at all.
Okay, now you are Christian, correct?
Absolutely. I do not agree with changing what you were made. I don't agree with that. I think this is controversial as hell, and I mean it with the utmost of conversation and the least amount of disrespect possible. The whole movement is centered around people who were raised a certain way and raised to think that changing who you are is okay. And you're right. It's none of my business. To your comment or to your person in the comment, it's none of my business. To be honest with you, it's not. I just don't personally agree with it.
Okay, so you don't agree with it. That's fine. But would you support politicians that were actively trying to pass laws to ban them from doing what they wanted to do?
Part of me says yes, the rest of me says no. And what I mean by that, I guess, I have a big problem, from previous conversations. I don't agree with anybody telling one person what they can and can't do. But when what you're doing is, pushing it into people's faces through the school systems, through the social media apps, through all of this, that's when it becomes a problem for me.
No.
I don't push my life on anybody.
Now you're suggesting that you don't support people telling others what they can and can't do. Now you lean right, correct? You don't lean left, do you?
I definitely lean right.
Okay. Do you consider yourself MAGA? Again, we've had this conversation, but for those who haven't heard it, yes, I agree with a lot of the ideology about making America great. Okay. Now, the reason I brought that up, because you just stated you don't believe in telling people what they can and can't do. You do realize MAGA's doing that over and over again. You can't have an abortion. You can't learn about CRT. They're blocking books. Are they not doing that?
They are. And they just, you got to go one route dramatic, and then you got to come back and soften it up. And then I think if it happens correctly, it's going to be, voluntary abortions is going to be outlawed, which I think it should, because it shouldn't be it should not ever be a form of birth control.
But how can you suggest, you just stated you're not about telling people what they can and can't do, but then you're going to tell a woman how she can and cannot have an abortion or birth control?
Well, I guess I fight for men's rights in that, because I can't say if I knock a girl up, I don't want to be a dad without having to pay child support.
Yeah, but you say you fight for men's rights, but if a woman wants to transgender to a man, you're not going to fight for her rights either, right?
That's not a man.
But it's not, you just stated you don't care what other people do. Now it sounds like you actually do.
But I'm not dumb. I'm not dumb. I'm not ignorant to what a man and a woman is. A biological man and a biological woman are born a certain way. End of story. There is no second, third, fourth, fifth, ninth gender. There's not.
No, I mean, I hear your point, but how does it affect you if I want to transition to a woman? How are you affected by that at all?
Tim, I tell you what, if you show up on the mat to wrestle with my daughter, who is a biological female, I'm coming out in the ring and I'm going to beat your ass.
Okay, so what if I want to transition to a woman, but I'm not trying to wrestle your daughter? Huh?
My daughter's gonna whoop your ass.
Okay, listen. Let's get out of the wishful thinking category. I'm 6'6", 300 pounds. I ain't never had a woman beat my ass. But let me say this, while you're being comical, but now you do realize the overwhelming majority of transgender are not trying to play sports for the team of their. Yeah, that's not a major issue. So if a transgendered woman, as long as they're not trying to play for a girls' team, are you okay with leaving them alone?
Now, because I don't follow it because it's not part of my life. A transgender woman is a man who then became a woman?
Yes.
Is he fully transitioned?
Not
usually. Got a penis acting like a woman.
No, well, there's post-op and pre-op. After an operation or before. So they may be pre-op, not always.
Okay, well, pre-op's still a man.
Okay.
Well, in reality, after he gets it cut off and they create the tunnel that makes the vagina, he's still a man. He's never going to have a baby.
You know how many actual biologically born women can't have a baby? Women that were sterile from birth? That happens to women too.
He don't have a uterus.
You know how many women that have had a hysterectomy that don't have a uterus?
Were they born with a uterus?
Not all of them. God makes us in weird ways.
Well, I'll tell you, 99% of women are born with a uterus.
Okay. So the ones that are not born with a uterus, are they men?
Well, don't they call them like hermaphrodites or something like that?
I thought they called them women. I don't know. You complicating it, man.
The whole thing is complicated. That's what I'm saying. Is why are we trying to complicate it more? If you want to act like a girl, act like a girl. If you want to act like a man, then act like a man. My daughters carry no flack against me with my ideologies because I'm very set in them, and I'm not disrespectful to them. I'm not disrespectful to their transgender friends that are boys, their transgender friends that are girls. I don't disrespect anybody. But when you put it in my face and you put it into my daughter's schools and you're putting Black Lives Matters and you're throwing rainbow flags all over my daughter's schools, you're forcing an idea on an impressionable child. That's where I have a problem.
Yeah, but here's what I don't get. The same folks who don't want to see CRT or, as you say, Black Lives Matter and stuff like that on schools to be an impression on schools, you're okay with forcing them to say the Pledge of Allegiance, or you're okay with having Christianity in schools, bringing back religion in schools. How is that not the same thing?
Do we live in America?
Yeah.
Are those things American?
Slavery is American. What's your point?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I was laughing at that one brother you had in here that had the Confederate flag and he was talking about certain types of racism. You remember that?
Yeah, I've been trying to make a short video out of that. That was pretty interesting.
It was interesting, but see, I understood what he was saying.
Wait a minute. He said there are good aspects to slavery. What part of that you understood?
Okay, so if we go back to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Jeffrey, right? He was a butler. He didn't have a salary. He had a place to eat and food. Correct?
You do realize the butler, because he said the good aspects of slavery were people like butlers that were given a cabin to stay in the back or something like that. You do realize that a modern day butler can go home, they can date who they want, they can quit anytime, they're not forced to be a butler. I don't think you can compare Jeffrey as a butler on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air to a butler doing slavery.
No, see, but I wouldn't, but that's what that man was saying.
I'm still trying to hear the good aspects of slavery, though. What did you understand about that?
It's just a word. It's just a word.
What's a word?
Do we have modern slavery?
No, not in this country. Not in this country, unless it's in the penal system.
Are you capable of living any life that you want to live based on your effort?
I don't quite get where you're going with that.
You're free to do pretty much anything you want, so as long as you're not hurting anybody and you put in your maximum amount of effort, you can have what you want.
In most cases.
Okay. So then what I would encourage people to do is to start talking those things. Let dead dogs lie.
Wait, hold on a second, DJ. Nobody's going to let dead dogs lie if you're suggesting that there are positive aspects to slavery. Do you believe there are positive aspects to slavery?
I don't think there was anything positive about slavery back in the 1800s.
All right, then that's all we wanted to get. The rest of it is moot then.
No.
Okay. All right.
I mean, shit, I'm Native American, I'm Mexican, I'm white. I've got all of these different, internal battles of my own. And I've won them all because I just went to the situation where it's like, you know what? I'm just going to do me. That's it.
Okay.
My own business.
All right, I got to move it on. I just wanted to clear up that you didn't see anything positive in slavery. You're about to lose me there for a minute. All right.
You know I don't.
Thank you. Well, you scared me for a minute, DJ. Appreciate you coming on. All right. And by the way, folks, he was referencing a guest I had on the program about a week ago, an African-American, by the way, that had a Confederate flag for his profile picture and stated that there were positive aspects to slavery. So a lot of you folks may have heard the conversation, but yeah, it was a shock. Looking in the comments, America was great when Republicans took slavery away from Democrats. I don't think America was great at that time. When slavery ended, that was a good thing. But it's not like they ended slavery and just started treating people like they were equals. The day after slavery ended, as an African American living in 2024, I don't see that as a great day. I see that as a stepping stone, but I don't look back at the day after slavery and say, whoa, that was a great time in America. No, it wasn't. Because even though Abraham Lincoln may have done that, most of the world didn't agree with it. Just like if you end up getting enough liberals in the Senate to codify Roe v. or better yet, make abortion legal, it's going to be a hell of a lot of Americans that are still not going to agree with it. You may still find it's unsafe to open up an abortion clinic in the South. That's how it was after slavery ended. Yeah, they're free, but they ain't free around here. Don't come around here with that bullshit. That's how it was. That ain't a great day. It was a stepping stone towards where we are now. I'll leave it at that. Looking in the comments, also it was all for money. Yeah, there was no good about slavery. There was just nothing good about it at all. We often talk about the labor and things like that. What we don't talk about is the sheer amount of rape. That's how they produced more slaves, folks. Once they brought them over here, they weren't constantly going back to England to buy more. When you could just force a woman against her will, against her wishes, to just populate and keep creating them. She didn't get a chance to say no. Perhaps if the master got horny along the way, he could go in there and join too. We don't discuss that. But the sheer amount of rapes during that era, it's got to be in the millions. Got to be in the millions. Looking in the comments, going straight back to the box, Stick the Ruler. Appreciate those emblems I saw stirring around there in the comment section, Stick. Hence June 19th. Yes. Good afternoon, Hence. Or better yet, good afternoon, Stick.
Hey, what's going on, handsome? How you doing?
Not much at all. I'm hearing that Trump re-election will be good for the transgender community. What say you?
The big laugh. That's what I say.
Yeah.
You know that ain't never been good. Whether it's Republican, conservative. I mean, your man that just got off, he tried to have a little bit of respect towards the transgender community, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. But
what would make you say? Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, what would make you say that Trump being back in the White House would not be good for that community? A lot of folks believe he would be. What makes you have a differing opinion?
Well, my whole thing of it is the people who are backing him are very, very into religious beliefs. Some of them, I won't say all of them are.
Okay.
They will call that. They will call out on the religious when it suits them versus actually living by a Christian life. So when it comes to transgender, to make people be on their side and see that they were right, they will refer back to the Bible. But, you still have people like Bobert and what's the old girl named Three Toes?
Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah, showing pictures of Hunter Biden's
genitals. Yeah.
So yeah. So I mean, again, it's only when they try to make themselves look good that they call out those certain Christian values. But other than that, man, they're just as worse as Trump or worse.
Wow. So I don't know. I mean, I will admit that there are a lot of evangelicals in regards to MAGA, and just like I was telling a couple guests back, Christianity does not like the LGBT community, but because the membership is falling, because there is so much judgment coming from religion, a lot of young kids don't like messing with it no more. How can you bring it back? Because Christianity is on a decline in America.
Well, the whole thing of it is if there is no bringing it back without changing it. I don't know if anybody's ever looked at the Trump Bible. I guarantee you he's probably changed some things to maybe fit people's agendas and things that they want to do. I mean, you just never know. The King James Version is a version of the Bible. It's not the actual Bible. It's a version. So, they have the international version. So now we got a Trump version. And there's possibilities that he could have changed. There's possibilities he could have left it alone. But it's the whole point. The Bible never had the American Constitution in it. And the Bible did not have Trump's name on it because he did not exist. So it's just one of those things where you got to see it for what it is.
Are you saying that Trump is? Are you saying that Trump is using religion to grift?
Oh, he's using religion to grift. He's trying to get the votes he lost. Whether some of Pence's people stayed loyal or not, like he's trying to say that he's into religion. I've never seen Trump ever, in a sense, go into church and actually be seen in a church and be seen Sunday after Sunday in church prayer or church service. So, I mean, right now, you see it for what it is. He's selling it. I mean, I can go in any church right now and sit at the pew, and right behind the person in front of me, there's a bookshelf full of Bibles. Yeah. And all I have to do, again, is ask the pastor, hey, check this out, pastor, I don't have a Bible. You mind if I get one of these? And I'm pretty sure the pastor would say, no problem. These are the verses that you need to go look at. Trump can't even give you a verse. So, yeah, he's grifting.
Well, Trump says the Bible is his favorite book, and he has many of them. I want you to read this. This is a super chat I got on YouTube. I think it's kind of interesting because my last guest was talking about, or better yet, somebody in the comments was talking about how it was great when the Republicans freed us from slavery. Now, this comment came from Joe Shalom on YouTube, and thank you for the super chat. Says, I am tired of hearing about Democrat slavery. It was conservatives, for example, today's Republican Party, who fought to keep slavery. Liberals fought to free them. The ideology, history, political. So he's saying that the way they're describing how we were freed from slavery is reversed, in that it was actually conservatives that wanted to keep us in bondage and the liberals wanted to free us. How do you view that?
Well, again, everybody knows there was a party switch.
Everybody doesn't agree with that, though.
And hey, everybody don't have to agree with it. It's obvious. I mean, the Republicans of old or the Democrats of old are Republicans, and they're in the South. And the Democrats of new, in the sense of the new Democrats, are really, like you said, the old Republicans, the liberals, the moderates, and anybody else that wanted change. So there was a party flip. It is what it is. Like some things, just like we can't take away from Trump, just some things you can't take away from either or party. And it did start out as the Republicans wanted, in a sense, to free the slaves to a certain extent. Let's not just say he wanted freedom for everybody. Let's just say he had to make a move, and I'm talking about Abraham Lincoln, that made sure that the Union stayed together. And he did what he had to do.
Yeah. I do got to move it on, but he did say that. He did say, if I could end the Civil War by freeing every black, I would do it. If I could end the Civil War without freeing any black, I would do it. He did exactly what you're stating. He just weighed his options and did what he thought was best.
Exactly, and out of it was more taxpayers, more money for the government, and on and on and on. But at the end of the day, Handsome, what it all boils down to is MAGA and anybody that's still supporting Trump right now is stubborn. They're going down with the ship. I give them enough respect to call them captain because they're willing to go down with the ship. And it is what it is, man.
You said anybody that supports Trump, I'll give them enough respect to call him captain because they're going down with the ship. You don't think he can win?
They're going down with the ship. Nah, man. I think the most he'll get is probably like 55 million votes.
Wow.
Because of just his, like, it's two things: his mouth and his brain. Neither one worked. Not the right way, anyway.
All right, Stick.
Yeah, he's done. 55 million votes. And he's going to jail. Remember, $20, he's going to jail.
Yeah, we did bet $20 because I don't think Trump's going to do a day. I don't believe he's going to do a day. I'm not saying that he may not be guilty, but I don't think he's going to jail. You got $20 say he's going to be incarcerated.
I think he's going to be incarcerated. Now, watch this. He may get incarcerated when he breaks this gag order. Because I don't think this new judge is playing.
That could happen. You know.
Go on ahead and try.
Yeah, you know something. You know something because Trump often talks about a two-tier justice system. The idea that he's talked to judges the way he has and not been found in contempt yet, he's really benefiting because you or I or anybody else cannot get away. We couldn't do that.
No, we would definitely not get away with it. The justice system itself wouldn't allow it. But again, he's a former president. He's got Secret Service around him, so they got to give him some type of leeway. And I'm glad that they are doing it because it just goes to show that they're giving him every opportunity to try to do whatever it is he needs to do to get out of these charges. And at the end of the day, when they get him, they got it. And it is what it is.
He ain't doing it today, but Stick, I gotta move it on, but he ain't doing it today. He gonna owe me $20. He ain't doing it today.
Hey, if you do a night in jail, man, that's $20 on my end.
I got you. I'll cash app it to you. But otherwise, keep in mind, $ the handsome liberal. Be prepared to send me some money. Gotta go.
I got you.
All right. Looking real quick, I wanted to say this in regards to what my last caller was talking about and folks in the comments about Republicans freeing the slaves versus Democrats. One thing you don't hear about is the fact that Republicans during the era of slavery were referred to also as progressives. They weren't just called Republicans, they were also called progressives. The Democrats during the era of slavery were also called conservatives. That does not come up. Keep in mind, just think about what being a progressive is all about. It's about changing the way the country has fundamentally operated, whether it's changing the Constitution, what they wanted to change, Second Amendment rights, change amendments, things like that. Progressives have always been about changing the Constitution, changing the way we operate, essentially evolving. Conservatives are more along the line of traditionalists, which is why you often hear about either the Constitution or the founding fathers. That comes up a lot from the right side of the aisle from conservatives. They're wanting to contain the country the way it was traditionally. So that doesn't come up, but freeing slaves was certainly a progressive idea because America was founded on slavery. They were trying to do something differently, but you don't hear them mention that because now progressives are overwhelmingly Democrat. And if you bring that up, it makes it clear something happened. Some kind of change took place. In fact, I've played it on the program numerous times. Coming from Martin Luther King, he was interviewed by CBS, and he's actually on video saying this, that he feared the Republican Party could possibly become the white man's party if, and this is a quote, if some of the progressives in the party do not speak up. That's Martin Luther King saying that. If the progressives in the Republican Party do not speak up, I fear this could become a white man's party. Now there's virtually no progressives in the Republican Party. You don't hear people talk about that, but that is an actual fact. Going back to the box, real quick, tap the screen. We certainly should be around 80,000. You certainly could get your boys' likes up. You know what I always ask, and certainly on YouTube, smash that like button. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. This is an uncensored program, regardless of how you feel. Perhaps you think I'm completely losing it, you're invited to state that. We don't believe in blocking, banning, or censoring anybody. So tap the screen. Going back to the box, we'll make it happen. I don't know what just happened there, but we'll continue on with, I don't know, it says Jenny. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. President Trump, the commander-in-chief that would fit the narrative that would be best for the LGBT community. Jenny, good afternoon. What say you? Are you there? All right. Apparently something's going on. We'll continue the program on. I don't know what just happened there, but nevertheless, looking in the box, we'll go straight right on back to just me. Biden is the foreigners' party. I kind of get the reference suggesting that he's letting folks in the country, so he's in favor of foreigners, but Russia is a foreigner as well. I don't think Biden is pro-Russia. Just me. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm doing very good. I saw you in the, so you came on the program. I'll give the floor to you. What brought you on?
I've seen you live a couple times, and I wanted to thank you for your conversation.
Okay.
I am a Republican, as you said.
Unfortunately, I really would like to talk to you, but unfortunately, just me. Your signal is something's going on. I can barely hear you. Your signal is really bad. Try to come back in. I could not hear you at all, and I see in the comments everybody's saying bad connection as well. Yeah, certainly come back to the program. We'll try to bring you up again. We'll continue on with Nate Debates. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Nate, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can, and just real quick, I want to say, man, I appreciate how you do things. I try to keep it the same way in my life. I appreciate it.
Hey, anytime. So what brought you on it? What brought you over here?
Well, man, the main thing I want to talk to you about is actually the economy. You cool with switching topics a little bit?
Depends on how far off the deep end you go. What you got for me?
Well, I was just curious because, I mean, obviously you're supporting Trump.
No, I lean left.
I just assumed because you had the Make America Great Again.
A lot of people do. I am MAGA friendly. I do believe they should be allowed to speak. I believe they often get blocked, banned, or censored. Purpose of the hat is to let them know they're always welcome to speak here without being interrupted, without being censored. That's the purpose of the hat. But I lean left on a lot of issues.
Okay, cool. Well, then you might not disagree with me. I was going to bring up the fact, he added $8 trillion to the debt, and we didn't really see any massive improvements from the trend in the Obama economy in terms of unemployment, GDP. So that's what I wanted to talk about, but you probably agree with me there.
Wait, say that again about the economy.
Yeah. So I was going to bring up the fact that during the Trump economy, he added $8 trillion to the debt. And really, if we look at the economy he inherited, at best, he just kind of continued the Obama trend of lowering unemployment, increasing GDP. So I was going to talk about that, and then also some of his specific policies, like his tariffs on China. But
I think Nikki Haley echoed exactly the same sentiments you stated in regards to Trump and the debt, that he drove it up. Yeah, Nikki Haley said the same thing. So, and I don't think there's a lot of folks that would disagree and suggest that Trump lowered the debt. Even Trump is not bragging about that. I mean, obviously he had to deal with the pandemic. We all received big stimulus checks and things like that. But the tax cuts also probably added on to that. But no, he didn't lower the debt at all.
Yeah, and really, I can understand deficit spending in his last year, because you mentioned we had the pandemic, but it was also increasing his first 3 years. And to me, you can't really justify that, because, he inherited an Obama economy that was improving. It was pretty stable. So yeah, but I would absolutely agree that I can understand the increased spending in his last year as president.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question, and since we probably don't disagree too much there. I brought this up as a second topic on the show. We haven't talked about it much, but I'll run it by you. A few years back, we had athletes all over the country taking a knee during the national anthem. Many folks suggested that was disrespectful to the flag. You got this lift every voice and sing song that they're playing now, even did it at the Super Bowl, which folks are referring to as the Black national anthem, and people believe that's disrespectful as well. Now, I brought up that a couple of weeks ago, Trump came out on a stage at a rally in Ohio. It was announced over the loudspeakers, please stand, rise for the January 6th hostages. And they played the anthem with the flag proudly waving. Trump saluted as opposed to putting his hand over his heart. And in the background, you got the folks that are currently incarcerated singing part of the anthem. And they're singing it in a totally different cadence. In addition to that, just this weekend, Trump goes on social media, sends out a picture of President Biden hogtied in the back of a pickup truck with the U.S. flag prominently displayed in the background. Question I'm asking is, how do we judge when somebody is disrespecting the flag? Where's the litmus test? Because taking a knee when the song is on, many folks clearly see that as disrespectful. But tying up the president in front of the flag, is that, I mean, how do we judge this?
Yeah, man. I mean, again, obviously there isn't a litmus test we all agree on. But kind of what I would say about that is you mentioned, him saluting the people that were arrested on January 6th.
Right.
All of that. Yeah, I think that's not to only politicize, but to basically support people that are actively being convicted as felons for crimes against the country. To conflate that. To conflate those two things, I think is obviously like as disrespectful as you could get. Like with the thing with like Colin Kaepernick, I know mostly I think it was mostly in the NFL, but also in the NBA. I didn't really understand why people were so offended by taking a knee. I kind of see that as a pretty subtle thing, a pretty respectful thing, really. I can understand why it would offend some people, but I definitely think they're being hypocritical if they aren't offended by what Trump did as well.
Yeah. And I kind of had the same sentiment that if you can see taking a knee as disrespecting the flag, but singing the anthem in an entirely different cadence, you got a salute going on as opposed to your hand over your heart, and your background singers are in prison for going in the Capitol building. If that's not disrespectful, but taking the knee is, I'm trying to figure out what is the scale you're judging on.
Yeah, man. I'm lost too.
Yeah. All right. So you do understand where I stand at now. Come on back to the program anytime, man. Glad to have cleared that up. Appreciate you coming in.
Good talking to you.
You too. All right. Moving on. That was Nate Debates. Moving the program on, though. Many singers change it up to their style. Yeah, but they don't have convicts in the background. Saluting versus putting your hand over your heart. If that's the case, if you're okay with going from putting your hand over your heart to saluting, what's the difference between standing and taking a knee? I'm trying to figure out why one is being judged so differently than the other. That's all I'm asking. Tap the screen. We may be to get on up to over 100,000. We're pretty damn close. 1,100 of you in here. Let your thumbs not be lazy. Helps out the algorithm, shows your boy some love. Tap the screen. Same on YouTube. Looking in the comments real briefly here. Fight police brutality by knowing your rights and using them, says Little Fitter Fitness. Well, fighting police brutality by knowing your rights and using them, while I think that is the right way to do things, that does not always work out very well, because at the end of the day, when you go before a judge, a sworn officer is going to get the benefit of the doubt over you all the time. So if you're in court you mentioned police brutality, which often comes along with dishonesty as well. If the officer is lying, you can fight for your rights all you want. The judge may believe him. I mean, it's as simple as that. If an officer plants some drugs on you or something like that and says that you had this in your possession, says that you were resisting arrest when you were not, says you were making threats when you were not, says that you had a weapon on you when you did not, they're likely going to prevail because they do get the benefit of the doubt, and we're not all roaming around with cameras on at all times. I mean, fortunately, cameras have brought a lot of cops to justice that would not have. I've stated before that Derek Chauvin would still be on the police force if it was not for citizens with cameras. And there's a hell of a lot more like that out there, but at the end of the day, simply fighting for your rights don't always do it. In the comments, Panzer of the Lake, thank you for the elephant ears there. Tiger Bait, appreciate that. Panzer of the Lake says, happy Trans Disability Day? What is Trans Disability Day. So a lot of folks, before we go back to the box, a lot of folks believe that being any member of the LGBT community, and I'm not talking about just trans, lesbian, gay, bi, queer, all of the different letters. A lot of folks believe that that is a mental illness. There are folks who do not believe you can be born gay, trans, or any of that. They believe that it is a mental illness. So in the comments, when someone suggested Happy Trans Disability Day, a lot of folks do believe that being gay is not something you can be born as. They believe that it is a choice. You're choosing to be gay, whether it's because of the media, your friends, peer influence, or something like that. A lot of folks believe that. MAGA, and this coming from Sandy, thank you, with the super chat on YouTube. MAGA who support January 6th, how can you be a patriot when you support the destruction of our Capitol and violating constitutionally required acts of Congress? Yes or no in the comments. January 6th participants were patriots. By way of yes or no in the comments, how many of you folks believe that those who have been arrested and incarcerated on January 6th were patriots? I do believe President Trump feels that way. We love you, go home. It was a love fest. It was a good day. Trump has spoken. I don't think Trump has said anything negative about January 6th other than Nancy Pelosi didn't provide the National Guard. I think just about everything about January 6th, President Trump has spoken positively of, up to and including the plan is to pardon them. Going back to the box, we'll go to the subscriber there, Pat Carlson. Appreciate you coming on there, Pat. No way they weren't, and enough hasn't been arrested. Criminal justice major. Good afternoon, Pat. Were they patriots?
No, they weren't.
Why not?
They stormed the Capitol because they stormed the Capitol. The Capitol is the nation's house, you might say. They would be no more patriots than if they stormed your house.
Yeah, thank you.
Or my house.
Thank you for the hat and mustache.
That's not being a patriot.
Let me ask it to you.
That's not being a patriot.
Okay, fair enough. Let me ask it to you this way. And Jay Gard, thank you for the hat and mustache. What if you believe that the current president stole the election and you're there to protest at the Capitol building, which is paid for by the taxpayers, that you're trying to defend democracy? Wouldn't that make you patriotic?
Okay. Patriotic would have been them outside of the building and waving flags, holding signs, whatever, going to court after the fact. But to storm the Capitol, that is not patriotic. That is just terrorism, first of all.
So
okay, now I also wanted to comment on a guy that you had a couple people back that said that if a guy that was somebody that was born a man was wrestling in his daughter's field, he'd go out there and beat their butt. Here's a question. They refer to this all the time, but yet have you heard anything about them the other way around? A woman, somebody who was born as a woman going into a man's sport. Have you heard any, or a woman going into a man's restroom? Have you heard anything about that? No, it's always the man transitioning to the woman. Now, there's also another thing is people don't seem to understand. There is a big difference between transsexual and transgender. Transsexual is somebody who has not had the surgery down below. They still got whatever plumbing down below that they had at the time of birth. Transgender, they went through the entire operation. So there is a big difference between the two, transgender and transsexual.
So transsexual is like RuPaul? Pat, are you there?
That money again?
So transsexual would be like RuPaul, somebody who dresses in drag?
Yes, they dress in drag. Maybe they've gotten the breast implantments, but they still maybe want the plumbing down below and want it to work. A transgender, one sexual gender to the other.
Okay, so how do you respond? Because you've been listening to some of my callers. Someone suggested that, in regards to the transgender community, the better president for that community would be Trump as opposed to Biden.
The fact of the matter is, Trump is not good for anybody. Period.
Damn.
And my personal opinion is, all right, I can't say whether Trump is guilty on all these charges or not. But what I can say is, while he is facing these charges, he should not be allowed to be on the ballot. If you or I was facing these kind of charges, do you think we would be allowed to be on the ballot? Hell no. But because he was a president once before, he's allowed to? No. That's not right. Until he either is acquitted of these charges or found guilty, he should not be able to run for any political office, period.
But
I don't care if he's running for...
But what if the charges, what if folks are correct when they suggest that the only reason he's being charged is to prevent him from being president in the first place, that it's only a ploy to, interfere with his election?
Ask yourself this. When have you ever heard Trump say that he is not guilty of these charges? He's not once said that. All he says is he has presidential immunity. No, that is BS. Everybody should be held accountable for their own actions. If for example, Biden, and everybody can say, hey, it's a political thing. It is. If Biden's son, if Biden was not president and Biden's son had came up with these charges, do you think they would be going after him? No. When you become a political person, yes, everything you do is going to be scrutinized. Everything is going to be a political thing.
Yeah, but how do you, speaking of it being political, now on YouTube, Kevin O'Leary says it's all political charges really anyway. Now, how do you respond to folks who point out, like Ricky did on YouTube, is that you're holding Trump accountable for possession of documents, yet Hillary Clinton, destroyed a bunch of emails, erased a server, and nobody charged her with a crime. Is there a two-tier justice system at play?
Here's the problem there, is those people, when they were confronted and said, we want these documents, they turned them back over because maybe they didn't realize they had them. Maybe they did. I don't know. But they turned them back over. Trump did everything in his power to hide documents.
No, that doesn't excuse Hillary Clinton. She didn't turn over her email. She destroyed this whole server.
One way or another, because I've also heard that she wasn't the one who destroyed the server. I don't know if that is factual. If she covered up and destroyed the server, should she be charged? Yes, she should.
Okay, in
no ifs, ands, or buts. Nobody is above the law.
Okay.
Period.
Well, it does appear that President Trump is being charged for this, where Hillary Clinton is getting a pass. It does look like that. It also, too, you got a lot of folks like Kevin O'Leary of Shark Tank suggesting that the Letitia James case against Trump, a lot of other real estate moguls have done the same thing and didn't face the same charges. Like, for some reason, Trump is being singled out. Do you see any possibility to that?
Yes, there is, but that, once again, that reverts back to that same aspects of he is in a political office. When you go to as a political person, when you go there, you better be dirt clean. You better be so squeaky clean that you have nothing for them to find. Because if they have even the slightest bit on you, they're going to go after you because you are political aspects. You're supposed to be above and beyond any reproach. Now, Trump, all right, Hillary, she deleted stuff off of her server, which was emails and such like that, right?
Right.
Trump, he has national security documents. Big difference between an email and an actual document. He had documents regarding our nuclear capabilities pertaining to attacking other countries and, very highly top secret documents, and he did not want to turn them over. Had he turned them over any of the times that he was requested to, I don't believe that he would be facing these charges. But the fact of the matter is, it was not just one time that he did it, it was several times that they went and said, and then even his own attorney said, okay, we turned over everything.
Well, let me just say this.
They found out there was more.
Okay, fair enough. Pat, I do got to move it on, but let me just say this in regards to comparing Trump to Hillary. You can't really excuse Hillary because you don't know what she had in her possession. She may have had documents. She destroyed everything. There could have been highly classified material on her server. There's no way to know. So you can't give her any credit because she got the benefit of being able to destroy everything.
And I would agree, like I said, if she destroyed, if they had an absolute case of her destroying that server, she should have been charged, because the fact of the matter is we don't know what was exactly on that server.
Right.
That server could have been just, her texting her friends saying, hi, let's go out for a beer. Or it could be things like, hey, this is our nuclear capability.
Right.
So, yes, if that server is basically government property too, then yes, she should have been charged just as well.
Well stated.
Right now, Trump is in the, you might say, the eye of that target.
Yeah.
And so therefore, and once again, it's not just the documents case. If it was just the documents case, I mean, that would be very bad as it is. But you got to also figure that he was trying to subvert America's wishes as to who was president. He is the first president in history that did not have a smooth transition. He attempted everything what he did, in my opinion, is he performed a coup.
Well, I do gotta move it on, but I will say this: until he's found guilty in the court of law, we gotta give him the benefit of the doubt. We can't just automatically convict the man. He has not been convicted in court. I used to say the same thing when they were yelling "lock her up," is that until you get a conviction, it is what it is. But Pat, appreciate you coming through. Spirited conversation. Anytime, my door is open to you, man.
All right. Well, like I said, one last thing is, I don't know whether he's guilty or not. But until he's found guilty or not guilty, once again, he should not be allowed to run.
A lot of people agree with you.
Plain and simple.
All right. A lot of folks agree with you.
All right.
Appreciate it. And I will echo two sentiments. First of all, in regards to President Trump and whether it's political or whether it's a witch hunt, election interference, some are calling it, I believe there is a combination of a lot of that stuff. I do believe that, like my last caller said, when you run for president, folks are going to be all up on you, looking into your closet. If you got any dirty laundry, it's going to come out. While I believe Trump is facing a lot of political charges that he may not be facing if he was not running for president, that doesn't mean he's innocent of them. I do believe Trump, a lot of the stuff Trump is dealing with, if he didn't run for president, he wouldn't be. Letitia James, for instance, if Trump was not running for president, they would have contacted him. Maybe Michael Cohen, who would have still been his lawyer, would have made a deal with the courts. Trump would have paid a few $1 million and that whole thing would have went away. That's my humble opinion. Same thing, though, applies to Hunter Biden. Just like they are going against Trump because he's in a political spotlight, the same thing is happening to Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden, one of his cases involves him lying on a gun application, suggesting he has had no problems with drugs to obtain a firearm, which he successfully did after lying on a gun application, didn't commit any crimes with the gun or anything, got rid of the gun, yet they're going after him for lying on the application. If Hunter Biden's dad was not the target of many folks, once again, just like Trump, he would have made some type of deal behind the scenes, paid a small fine, and that shit would have went away. He didn't commit any crime. He just lied on the application. A person of that stature, it would have went away. So I do believe both sides are facing political witch hunts. I totally believe that. Looking in the comments though, but yet here we are. He ran for president again to avoid jail, says Kennedy Cat. And I agree with that. One of the things, before I go back to the box, tap the screen, get your boy on up to 110,000. I do appreciate the participation. Could be anywhere you want to be this Monday. Happy to have you here with yours truly. Same on YouTube. Smash that like button. I think you got to hold it down for a couple seconds. Both cases helps out the algorithm. You enjoy civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle without the host block, banning, or censoring anybody. You are in the right place. So follow the program or certainly drop a subscription. In regards to my last caller, before we go back to the box, suggesting that with all those charges, he should not be able to run. Well, many folks believe the charges are a witch hunt. Thank you, Temper, for the shades. Yours truly, I agree. I agree with my last caller in regards to that point. I would tell you, any of us, if you had a small business, let's say you owned a hardware or you had a fast food joint or something like that, and someone showed up to apply for a job at your business, you're running a criminal background check. The individual pulls you aside. Listen, I don't have any criminal history on my record, but I do got some problems with the feds. They making all these accusations. Marcus! Thank you, Marcus. Thank you. Shout out. Appreciate that. Wow. I will say this. You get pulled aside by this prospective employee. I don't have a criminal record. But listen, I got a few problems with the feds. This broad named fucking Fannie Willis, she all over me down in Fulton County. This dude up in New York named Alvin Bragg. And, listen, I ain't done nothing wrong, but listen, I got a bunch of these folks saying I did. So I got like 80 some odd charges against me in a few places. This dude named Merrick Garland is after me. But I ain't done nothing wrong. It's all a witch hunt. Would you hire that person? Facing 88 charges in different jurisdictions all over the country, telling you they ain't done nothing wrong. Yeah, the feds after me. It's all a witch hunt. Would you put your liability for your business at play? Understand, if something happens, the whole damn community is going to come down on you as a business owner. Why the hell would you hire somebody like that told you all that up front? So I just want to be fair about it. Regardless if you favor Trump and think Biden sucks, understand, even if you are diehard MAGA, you're not hiring somebody with 88 charges, convicted or not. You're just not going to hire that person. And I do agree with my last caller. And then going back to the box, Joe, did your son pass on? Joe, I ate bacon for breakfast. Oh my God. Going back to the box, Alexander, Biden ain't that much out of it, is he? Alexander, good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
Remember I talked to you the other day about him being a 550 million little compromise?
What do you mean?
This is the same thing. When like money-wise, being President Trump.
What about
so
it?
Now the issue is, like what you just said, is that's it. You can't hire a guy that might possibly be a criminal, a felon.
So
like 6 months.
Okay, I get where you're going now. I remember now. So what you're saying, what you're saying is because Trump is facing all of this stuff, he may be compromised to the point where he could be bought out by a foreign government or something.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Absolutely.
I'm being told Trump loves this country and would never sell us out. Thank you for the hat there.
Yeah, no, but honestly, dude, think about it for a second. Like, let's say, like, tomorrow, some guy came to you and, said, okay, well, I'll give you $550 million. All right, but you don't owe me anything?
Yeah, but how can you can't quietly exchange.
Whether it's a bank whether it's a billionaire, let's say like Elon Musk, whether it's a foreign government, whatever. Or do you think they won't want something back for that money?
Yeah, but I don't think anybody's going to pay Trump $500 million. I mean, you're telling me that Trump would be selling favors for this huge sum of money.
Well,
you can't. Go ahead.
But anyway, just to jump, like with Hillary, I agree with the other caller too. If she did something like, yeah, she should be prosecuted. But here's the one big difference between her and Trump is hers was destroyed. Cannot cause any other problem. Trump had boxes in his bathroom.
I disagree with that.
That's a big...
I disagree with that. Let me tell you why. You say hers was destroyed and Trump had it in his bathroom. When she destroyed her server, what it could have told you is that on this certain date,
she might have been a criminal. Absolutely. I hear you 100%.
That ain't what I'm saying. No, that's not what I'm saying.
It's gone.
That ain't,
you can't accuse her of something that's when it's gone.
Well, the fact that she destroyed it.
What's your evidence?
Yeah, but the fact that she destroyed it makes
They could have gone after her for destroying it.
Okay.
Like that's it. Because otherwise they don't have any other evidence.
Yeah. So is it possible that Trump is being charged when Hillary got away? Do you see that as unfair to Trump?
Oh, no, it's absolutely political. But everything is political in Washington. And the guy was absolutely right. When you run for president, you open yourself up to all of this. Like he would have stayed off that escalator in 2016. He could have lived his life grifting, stealing like he'd been doing all of his life, and no one would have been the wiser. He would have gone on The Apprentice again, or something like that, and made his money. But he decided to be president, and that opens up the closet full doors.
What makes you say? Wait a minute. You said he could have been grifting and stealing like he's done all his life. What makes you believe that Trump has been stealing from people?
Look what he's doing now. No, not stealing. So, well, you hear stories, plenty of stories.
My guest went on mute. I don't know what happened. Maybe he had a phone call. I don't know what happened there. All right, we're moving on. His whole life says yo-yo. Can't play with my yo-yo. How do you know Trump is a thief? Trump was well-loved, highly respected, even among African Americans and hip-hop artists alike. A thief? I never heard any allegations that he was a thief before he became president. Yeah, Trump steaks, the casinos in Atlantic City. We talked about Trump University. There was a few problems here or there, but a thief? I don't know, that's kind of strong. Looking in the comments, somebody said Kevin O'Leary said my last caller dropped his pipe. Yikes, Kevin, that's mean. Be kind to the guests. Car just rammed in the FBI building in Atlanta. Did anybody hear about that? It's often, I don't know if that's the case, but somebody let me know in the comments. Car just rammed in the FBI building in Atlanta, because a lot of news often breaks while I'm hosting these lives. And somebody is saying that a potential, I don't know, would that be a terrorist act or just somebody who don't know how to drive? Real quick, Biden became a millionaire after leaving office. Biden became a millionaire. When did Biden leave office? 2017? I mean, Biden's been in office his whole damn life. I think the only time Biden was not in office is after him and Obama left the White House. When you said Biden, if he was not a millionaire after an umpteen amount of time in Washington as a congressperson, as a senator, then as vice president, of course he's a millionaire. Is that hard to believe? That if you dedicate 30, 40 years of your life to Washington, you could be in the military for 30 years and possibly become a millionaire if you treat the money right. I know a lot of folks believe that as a politician, you shouldn't make a lot of money, but to me, that doesn't make sense. I think Biden became a congressman at 29, like 29 years of age, he got into politics. And here he is, 81 years old. Okay, so he left the White House with Obama in 2017. So what is that, 7 years ago? So he was already 70 plus. You don't think he should be a millionaire from 29 to 70? I would submit to you that any one of us in here, if you were in Washington that long, you would be a millionaire. Unless you're doing something really, really wrong. That's not being on a take. That's how the system is set up. Anybody would. Looking in the comments, most POTUS were well off after leaving because of books and speaking engagements. Moonchild, yeah. Well, you also get a big salary. I think Obama, $250,000 or something like that. The salary is lifelong. I think Obama will get at least $250,000 to $500,000 a year for the rest of his life. I mean, not to mention you get a certain amount of money for vacations. I think $1 million a year. So it's something ridiculous that is allocated to you after being president. So yeah, it's pretty damn easy to be a millionaire once you leave the White House because they're giving you money, yet they're covering most of your damn expenses. Not to mention book deals and all the other stuff that come. Yeah, how could you not be a millionaire? You think somebody like Vice President Pence with 50 years in Washington is supposed to leave broke? That's not realistic. That's just simply not realistic. Going back to the boxing, Kevin O'Leary says Trump always donated his salary back. That's a farce. I'll just tell you right off the bat. Tap the screen, get your boy up to 120,000. Still have 1,000 of you in here. I appreciate that. Same on YouTube. Smash that like button. The notion that Trump donated his salary. I think the presidential salary is about $400,000 to $500,000 annually. That's the salary that Trump allegedly donated back. But Trump was constantly being criticized for using the office to promote his businesses, have foreign dignitaries coming over, hotels, playing on his golf courses, and he's charging a premium for all of this stuff. Pretty easy to make back the salary that you're allegedly giving away. In addition, we know that both his daughter and his son-in-law made a fortune. No, Trump didn't lose money while he was in the White House. Not in terms of finding ways to get paid. Now, the lawsuits and all this other shit is costing him a fortune, but no, Trump didn't lose money. That little salary wasn't shit. He found ways to make money on the side. And they had to tell him, by the way, you can't be letting folks stay in your properties. They actually had to stop him from doing that. So he was making money. Don't believe the hype on that. Going back to the box, continuing the program on with, I don't know what just happened there, but we'll get squirrel nuts. Okay. Wow. Squirrel nuts. He charged the Secret Service, even says Pipe in the comments. Trump charged the Secret Service. Yeah, Trump was making money while in the White House. There's no denying that. No denying it. He violated, the emoluments clause. That's what they were talking about. He violated the emoluments clause where he was profiting from, because remember when Trump ran for president, that was the whole question is, are you going to continue maintaining your businesses from the White House? Because are you going to be devoted to this country or are you going to still be devoted to the Trump enterprise? And he said he would let his children run a business and then of course he started doing otherwise. This is the whole thing that happened with Schwarzenegger when he became governor in California. Are you going to stop making movies while you're governor? And Schwarzenegger promised he would put his Hollywood career on hold. He actually did that. He actually did do that. Schwarzenegger did, but Trump was certainly still in business while he was in the White House. Moving on. They gave no discounts in his properties to Secret Service. They charged the max, says Jeff C. So stating that the Secret Service was staying in Trump's properties at a premium. They weren't giving him discounts or anything. That's what Jeff C says on YouTube. Oh, and the Republicans are never hypocritical. That's what you're trying to say. Come on. All right, going back to the box. I don't know what happened with my last caller, but we'll continue on with King. Good afternoon. Appreciate you holding there, King. If the box, I'm having a little trouble with the box. King, are you there? King, are you there? Okay, apparently not. Didn't Jimmy Carter have to sell his peanut farm? I don't know. I don't know if he did or not. I don't know if he had to or not. I can't speak. I mean, that is going way the hell back. I'm not for certain of that. Trump scam stock Truth Social is plunging today. 58 million loss, down 21%. Wow. Someone in the comments, I don't know if this is true or not, but says that Trump's Truth Social, remember, worth enriching Trump, $3.5 billion, saying that the stock is plunging down 21%. I'll go back to the box, but before I do, and also asking that you tap the screen, get your boy up to 130,000. A lot of participation on the likes, thank you. And same on YouTube, smash that like button. Not as many folks on YouTube smashing the like button. But I want to ask this question. We often do these quick yes or no polls. By way of yes or no, how many of you use Truth Social, where you're actively participating in the comment section or even posting material? How many of you folks use that? Truth Social. Because 3.5 billion, it's a hefty sum. I'm thinking, like, who uses that? I mean, Truth Social has not been around that long. It only came out because Twitter was banning and blocking folks before Elon Musk purchased Twitter. So it was kind of coming out as a counter to the censorship on Twitter. Trump just came up with that not long ago. I don't know folks using it that much. So I'm asking you folks, how many of you folks are on X? Or better yet, on Truth Social? Because I'm trying to, how the hell is it worth 3.5 billion? I don't know anyone that uses Truth Social. So how did it become so valuable? Other than people go there to hear what Trump has to say. That's really it that I know of. And I see most of the folks overwhelmingly in the comments are saying no. I mean, most of the folks in the comments are saying no. If Elon Musk hadn't bought X, Truth Social might have taken off. Fact. Because Truth Social was created as a counter to the censorship on Twitter. Elon Musk purchased Twitter and removed all the censorship, or a host of it, so that Truth Social no longer has a place anymore. It's not where you can go and get around censorship. You can go back to where you used to. I don't know anybody using X. I really don't. I don't know how it ended up being worth 3.5 billion, or as somebody referred to it as a scam stock. It might be hype. It actually might be all hype. Going back to the box. Fuzzer be nice, or Fuzzer X3 rather. Good afternoon, Fuzzer. Trump stock was predicted to drop. Probably sold it real quick. Fuzzer, good afternoon.
I just want to address one thing real quick. And granted, Elon Musk he's a businessman. He's doing something right. But Jesus Christ, you paid $44 billion for a name and then you change it? What the fuck are you thinking?
Well,
really?
But maybe he changed it to get away from the rumor that Twitter had so much censorship.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense to me. I don't know. I'm going to buy Nike and change it to Fuzzbot. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I mean, I get your point. But, I mean, like I said, with Twitter having a negative image, just like you buy a club, a well-known bar in town that used to have a lot of fights and the government was that, the first thing you do is you change the name of it.
Yeah, but Shaq bought Papa John's, and he didn't change Papa John's name.
No, but he's no longer with Papa John's. So he got out of it.
Did he leave it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, he got out of it. So.
Touché.
Right.
I wanted to touch on a couple things real quick.
Sure.
Let's start on March 31st, okay? That was known as the Trans Recognition Day. It already was. Sorry that Easter fell on it, and that Biden recognized both days. That's going to happen. It wasn't like he made it. It's been there for 15 years. And by the way, Easter is a fucking pagan holiday. It's a pagan holiday. Okay, where in the Bible does it say that there's a rabbit running around with fucking chicken eggs? It doesn't even fucking make sense. So these people are all up in arms about a fucking pagan holiday that they don't even like. Makes sense. And by the way, what was Jesus doing 3 days prior to that?
Didn't he rise on Easter? He was dead.
No, 3 days prior to him rising, he was just hanging around anyways.
On the cross. On the cross.
and by the way, next year it falls on 420. What are they going to do?
Oh my! Are you for real?
For real, it falls on 420 now.
So you can
What are they going to do about that?
you can dress up as an Easter bunny and be passing the joint back and forth.
I've already got my chocolate bomb.
Yeah, you could have some edibles, you know, a chocolate bunny that's, you know, laced with THC or marijuana too.
Exactly.
Oh my
And so
God.
now where was I? Oh, so Trump singing a song, okay? Singing the Star Spangled Banner for
The January 6 hostages.
Yeah, so let's talk about that for a second. Again, people have to remember, this is dangerous because the Supreme Court did not rule that Donald Trump could take office. All they said was he can be on the ballot. Okay, he's allowed to stay on the ballot. It doesn't say he can take office. And with Article 14, Section 3, giving comfort or aid to anyone that causes an insurrection. So don't tell me saying I'm going to pardon, I'm going to sing this national anthem, and I'm going to make sure you guys are free if I become president isn't giving comfort.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting you bring it up because Go ahead.
I was going to say the Supreme Court did not say he cannot be in office. They could vote him in. He could win November 2nd or 6th, whatever it is.
Right.
He could win, and the Supreme Court could say, okay, well, you can't take office, though.
Yeah. And I was going to say, it's interesting you brought that up because I did a show on that whole 14th Amendment thing quite a while ago. And I read that same, I think it's Article 3 or whatever part of that is where it says, where it says you can't give aid or comfort. And even though folks are saying it wasn't an insurrection or Trump can still run, there are folks, I think the leader of the Proud Boys and the leader of the Oath Keepers, they were charged and convicted of sedition. So they were charged with an insurrection. And as you point out, Trump has offered to give aid and comfort by offering to pardon them. And it says in that 14th Amendment, you cannot give aid or comfort to someone else that has committed an act of insurrection, and they've been convicted of it. So you are correct. I don't know if the Republican Supreme Court would rule like that, but you are correct that...
I don't know either. But like I said, they have not made an official ruling on that. And by the way, insurrection is not a charge. Insurrection is an event.
Yeah, they got charged with, they got convicted of sedition.
Right, which by the way is one, like a lot of people will say is the same as treason, but it's literally one step away from being treason.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but insurrection itself is not a charge. No one can be charged with insurrection, and that's why that hasn't happened.
Yeah.
But an insurrection, it has been ruled that was an insurrection. So, I don't know. That's interesting. I think that's all I had.
Fair enough, Fuzzer. I do appreciate you holding, man. As always.
I saw you back a couple weeks ago. I was going to jump in with you, but you were on with Lumberjack. Oh, man, that guy. I was going to jump on with you, but Lumberjack, I can't talk to him. I just can't.
Yeah, I always enjoy going into other folks' programs. Yeah, a bunch of a bunch of black folks supporting MAGA. You know, I got to go in there and talk to them. Yeah, they cuss me out. It's not a debate. It's just insults being flung at me. But listen, I always enjoy hearing them.
Yeah.
All right, Fuzzer.
And that's all LJ is. That's all he ever does. But anyways, Tim, always a pleasure. I'll talk to you later.
Absolute. My sentiments exactly. Looking in the comments, though, ignorance is bliss 420. But Joey can't let the border go. Dereliction of duty, says Dan. And that could happen, by the way. If we get really, you know, because we're talking about going after folks for political reasons. There is a possibility some folks may look at Biden. You didn't protect the U.S. border and use that as a way to impeach him. I don't know how far it would go, but it could happen. I mean, it certainly could happen if you get a majority on the Republican side of the aisle and you get Trump pushing it. I think it's a possibility. I'd say highly unlikely. I would probably put it around 90-10, not even 80-20, probably 90-10, but it could happen. Folks are suggesting that by not containing the border, Biden committed some type of act of treason or being a traitor. I think it would be a real hard case to make, really hard case to make. But it wouldn't surprise me if for some, you know, let's say Trump really dominated in November, got a strong majority on both courts. Wouldn't surprise me because many suggest that if Trump gets reelected, he's going to go after his adversaries. So it would not surprise me, but Here's the issue I have. We're constantly hearing that Biden has dementia, advanced dementia, doesn't know where he's at, can't string together a sentence. This is what I'm hearing from a lot of folks on the right. Can't say shit without a teleprompter. But the same folks that are saying Biden is damn near out of his mind like Ozzy Osbourne is also suggesting that he's a mastermind sending the Department of Justice against Trump, orchestrating, all of this stuff with the global elite, controlling George Soros and making him sound like a mastermind. It doesn't add up. It's like folks are picking and choosing when to say he's a, disabled person that's drooling and don't know where he's at. And then other times he's Einstein with a demented personality. It just doesn't make sense. I don't know where to go on that. But looking in the comment section, thank you folks for tapping the screen. Right at 130,000 likes, it could perhaps go up to 140 if you tap the screen. Nate says Biden isn't in control. I get a few guests that come on the program quite often. I say I go left of Bernie Sanders till I'm having dinner with QAnon. We take all guests. I get a few folks that come on the program that says Biden is no longer even with us, that there are actors filling in the role. So when you see Biden on television, I think they said it's either Drew Carey or I forgot the other actor's name that are portraying Biden on television because he's no longer alive. Folks suggest that Trump had him taken out with the aid of the military. They say the same thing about Hillary Clinton, even have a date. There's even an actual date. I think it's October or something like that back in 2018 that they suggest Hillary Clinton was hung by orders of President Trump for treason. I get some pretty interesting comments on the program. Like I said, we don't black ban or censor. We let people speak because I believe in censoring folks is only making it so these conversations don't happen. You don't change hearts and minds or get to hear the other side by censorship. So we don't do that here. We never do. How could you read that? How could you read with that lazy eye, says Marcus Belcher. I don't know why. A lot of folks type in comments. I try to read the comments. I understand I'm not able to get to all of your comments, but people do want their comments read, adding to the conversation. I hate when someone gets through and their comment does not further the conversation at all. I mean, just adds nothing to the program. Literally nothing. Going back to the box. Continuing on with Soul Buster. They hate you because you ain't a Democrat slave, says Mr. Bubs. Thank you. Hopefully I'll never be a slave. Don't know what happened with the box. We were trying to bring up a guest. Looks like it's not going to happen, so we'll go straight to Lenita. Good afternoon, Lenita. No more conspiracy theory bullcrap, says Jeff C. You're never going to get away from that. You're never going to get away from that. Lenita, good afternoon. Hey. So,
Hi.
Good to have you on.
I propose a couple things that would be good for Democrats and Republicans.
What you got?
I think we need, how corporations have human resource and employee manuals, and they have the rules in there, and if you violate them, there's a set punishment, if you want to say it that way, for whatever when you violate something that's in the employee manual.
Okay.
They need that for Congress. They have 400 members there, and 200 of them have criminal violations like drugs, caught DUI, caught domestic violence, and they really need like an HR department with a set of rules that if you're in Congress and you get convicted of DUI, this happens. If you get convicted of stock trading, you're out of here. If and also, I believe this thoroughly, they need, every job that you apply for has minimum requirements. And if you don't have those minimum requirements, they throw your resume in the trash, right? They should have that for running for office. They should have it where your minimum requirements are. You have to to take a drug test. You have to have a background check for criminal activity. If you're being indicted for criminal activity, you should not be able to run. And I can cite where they had a sheriff in the South who had been convicted and sent to jail, and yet he still ran, and the people who are staunch, whatever party he was running under, just voted for that party, and he actually won. Well, they had to immediately fire him again.
Wow.
To not let him run for office.
So based on your statement, hang on, hold on. Based on your statement, you're suggesting Trump should not be able to run for office.
That's right. And the reason why I'm saying that is because he was found guilty by New York. He's now appealing it.
He wasn't found.
So
found
he's
guilty of
now
what?
appealing.
Found guilty of what?
Of inflating his properties and lying on his taxes.
Yeah, but that wasn't
decreasing the property.
Yeah, but that's a civil case. That's not a criminal crime.
Right now, I don't know if you know this, but right now the states, there's about 3 or 4 states that are suing him now because Trump has a habit of not paying his bills.
Yeah.
And he has not paid his bills for his rallies. And the states are suing him to get their money for the rallies that he's held there.
Is that right? Is that right? I have not heard that.
Yep, yep.
Wow.
Yep, that's right. And then he has, and I can tell you, he's been in the news before because he's actually bankrupted a few companies like plumbers and construction companies because he'll sign this huge contract for them to work on his Florida estate, and then they do it. They have to put forth all the money up front, and then he doesn't pay the bills, so they go bankrupt. He's not a very ethical person.
Well, one thing that's floating. Hold on. Hang on a second. Hold on. One thing that's floating around the comments in regards to your statement one thing that's floating around in regards to you suggesting that Trump hasn't paid back states. Folks are asking, what states have you? Give me a state that Trump owes money. What states did you hear this about?
I'll have to look it up, but I'm thinking it's the Midwest states like Nevada and where he's held his last few rallies at.
Okay.
But I'll have to look it up for you. But I did read the article saying that he was being sued, and you probably could Google it and something.
I'm sure you can. Yeah, I'm sure that should be able to be done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the other thing, the women that are voting for Trump say, well, his 26 accusations for SA.
Right.
Well, they don't matter because they were in the past. Okay, but what I say to them? Would you want your granddaughter or daughter dating a man that had 26 accounts of SA?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
No.
I think that would apply to anybody.
That's right. So that would apply to anybody. And Clinton got ousted from office for his SA, and yet Trump has 26 and was convicted of 1, right? And he's still walking around. And I think he's getting special treatment because he was president, because they reduced the amount that he needed to put forth for a bond to appeal his case from 500 almost 500 million down to 175 million. And every judge that he's gotten, they sound really tough in the beginning, like they're really going to be hard on him, but then in the end, they give him a slap on the wrist. And
it wouldn't
now, that was you or me, right?
Yeah, I do got to move it on, but I think to some degree. No, I don't think so. I think to some degree, some of those judges may be fearful because if you put Trump in jail, your own life is going to change. But I do got to move it on there, Lenita. Appreciate, because we got a delay or something, but I do appreciate you coming on. Looking in the comments, classic Trump somebody said. I was trying to also look up. I went and got a tablet so I can kind of do a little research when you guys are saying things. Trying to find out states that are suing him for not paying bills. I couldn't find much in regards to his rallies. I seen one article, Trump's legal debts top $500 million, but that's talking about the Letitia James. Cities angry with Trump over millions in unpaid rally expenses. There's one. I'd have to look it up, but yeah, okay. So, like it says, U.S. President Donald Trump owes millions in unpaid rally expenses to cities across America, accounting for a slivering of looming, and there's more in there. So apparently, this is a CTV News. I don't know what CTV, Charlie Tango Victor. I won't go too deep into it, but apparently there is an article that I was able to find out, and that's why the program is in session. Name Barber, certainly a friend of the program, says the Center for Public Integrity tracked 10 unpaid bills sent to Trump's campaign by municipal governments, totaling $841,000 in 2019. Now, I don't know when that is dated, Barbara. Do appreciate the super chat and the submission, but it sounds like even back in 2019, they were going after Trump for not paying bills. I don't know if those bills have since been satisfied. Otherwise, you should be hearing of lawsuits and court cases coming up. You're not going to hear about this stuff on Fox or Newsmax or OAN, but MSNBC would have been covering it. I have not heard any of these places suing him, so maybe the debts got satisfied. The article I'm looking at, though, is because Naeem's statement was from 2019. The article I'm looking at is actually from February of this year, if I'm correct. So there may be some validity. Now, let me make it clear. MAGA doesn't give a shit about Trump owing money for rallies, okay? So this is one of those things where you're going to get folks on the right that are, and I see in the comments, right when I said that, Miss Nicole said whatever. So MAGA doesn't give a damn about that. Looking in the comments, though, nice guy 1550 said you're looking at fake news again. You know, that's, and I will say this, I don't know if the article is factual or not, but I do believe that is probably one of the biggest issues with trying to tell any type of story on President Trump. Real quick, tap the screen. Finish me off at about 150,000. We're pretty close to it. Certainly could do that if you folks tap the screen on TikTok. Smash that like button on YouTube. You know we ask. One of the difficult things about discussing President Trump is simple. Certainly when you're talking to my beloved MAGA folks on the right. The most difficult issue is accountability, belief, fake news. I've asked this question numerous times to MAGA, folks who are strong supporters of President Trump. The question is always the same. If Trump did something wrong, and I often preface it by saying I'm not saying he did anything wrong, but if Trump did commit a crime, who could tell you and you would actually believe it? The reason I bring that up is simple. It's almost impossible if you support Trump to ever believe he did anything wrong, because anyone who delivers the news is lying. It puts Trump in a very unique position of, to some degree, really being about as close to perfection as you can be. I believe you, and I don't believe anyone that says anything negative about you. They're part of the elite. They're working for George Soros. They're a liberal. They're a rhino. I mean, it's impossible to actually know if any of the information being presented is accurate or not when it's automatically going to be judged as fake news or somebody is doing it for personal gain. So it does make it almost impossible. Yeah, DJ Julio, thank you for the hat and mustache. That's been a problem in regards to President Trump from day one, is that his supporters do not believe any news that is negative about Trump is reliable. It is, no matter who tells it to you, it is fake. Whether it's the FBI, whether it is any of the intelligence organizations, whether it is some of his own cabinet members up to and including the vice president. Anyone who says something ill of Trump is lying. So it does leave a very challenging hurdle to overcome. How can you ever convict him of anything if nobody's going to believe anyone who tells it? I mean, if Trump is found guilty in any of these courts, Fonnie Willis, Letitia James obviously got a verdict against him. Alvin Bragg is coming up in 2 weeks. If you think all of these people are lying, you've already determined he's not guilty. And anybody who deems he is guilty, whether it's the courts, the judge, the jury, all of them are in on trying to take Trump down. So I don't know how you can ever get the facts out when a large portion of America is pro-Trump no matter what. And that's not to bash or support Trump. That's just telling you the truth. There are a lot of Americans that are not going to accept anything bad about Trump, no matter who tells you. Looking in the comments, MAGA will be the destruction of this country, says Ape G Man. I don't know about the destruction, but I don't know if Trump loses if the country is safe either. Because as I just stated, any negative information about Trump is going to be viewed as a lie or some type of plot against Trump or even the country. Which also means that in addition to any of these court cases, any news that suggests Trump lost the election come November is also going to be viewed as incorrect. Essentially, he can't lose. If he loses the election in November, a large portion of this country is going to believe that's fake. No matter who says it. Election officials, governors, other well-respected Republicans, doesn't matter who says it. If Trump does not win in November, there are going to be millions of people in this country that are not going to accept that. So when we suggest that the country is going to be destroyed if Biden wins or if Trump wins, I submit to you it's going to be problematic regardless. It's going to be problematic regardless, because if Trump wins, the liberals are going to go apeshit. If Biden wins, the liberals are going to think that democracy has been stolen. Or the conservatives, rather. The Republicans are going to believe that democracy was stolen from Trump. And Trump is absolutely going to be saying that. Absolutely. He's stating it now that cheating is going on. He's already saying it. So no matter what happens in November, people are going to believe the election was not held fairly, because Trump is already saying it. So I don't know at the end of the day how we're going to deal with this upcoming election peacefully. I just don't see it. People already believe that Democrats cheat and Republicans are honest. I've had guests on the show. Republicans are hardworking people. They tend to be honest. Democrats cheat. A lot of folks believe that. Republicans are honest, Democrats cheat. So at the end of the day, I don't know how it could happen without folks really being incredibly angry. Anyhow, folks, I do appreciate the heavy participation today, right at 150,000. We didn't quite get there, but I'm certainly pleased with all of the participation and 140,000+ likes you guys did submit. You know how the program works. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. It is always will remain MAGA friendly in its entirety. It's been that way since day one. Real quick, I did want to respond to one other super chat. What MAGA will never realize, thank you, Joe Shalom. What MAGA will never realize is that they live exclusively in an echo chamber. They are so ill-informed that they don't have the ability to escape it. Damn. If they see one thing they don't like, delete. Wow. Now, my super chat is suggesting that MAGA lives in an echo chamber. I only want to hear people who have a similar like mind to myself. That's how folks are saying it. I do believe there's a hell of a lot of liberals like that as well. I don't think that, the feminist community want to be challenged. I don't think the LGBT community wants to be challenged either. So I do agree with that. Certainly in the era of Trump, dissenting opinion is damn near dangerous. Mike Pence has dissenting opinion from Trump, and look where it's gotten them. Nikki Haley, Chris Christie, Ambassador Bolton, Attorney General Barr, General Miley, they all have a dissenting opinion from Trump, and it's not doing very well for them. So I do agree with Joe Shalom on YouTube, that dissenting opinion now it happens on the left, but I think currently right now on the right, it's probably far more stronger under Trump because Trump believes in loyalty. Biden is not, I mean, you look at the likes of Christian Cinema, Joe Manchin, they were Democrats under Biden, did not agree with him on a significant amount of issues. I think Joe Manchin voted with Biden like 70% of the time. That means 30% of the time he's voted against Biden. I don't think it would be safe in the Republican Party as a senator like Joe Manchin to vote against Trump 30% of the time. You would have constituents at your door threatening to harm you. And Trump would be literally highlighting you at every rally, blaming you for the reason those policies didn't go through. John McCain is a perfect example. Continued attacking John McCain even in death. So I do believe that it is worse currently, maybe not in the future, may change, but currently I do believe dissenting opinion on the right is far more dangerous than it is on the left. And I'm talking about even considering that they went to Kavanaugh's home. Maxine Waters talking about getting up in people's faces and things like that. I still think it's more dangerous on the right, particularly if Trump starts speaking out against you. Once Trump says that you're a danger or you're a problem, you need to move. You need to relocate. Once Trump gets in on it, you're in trouble. Real quick name, Barbara. That was in February 2024. El Paso for $560,000, stating that Trump did not pay a rally fee in El Paso, Texas, is going at him for over $500,000. Wow. I honestly prefer when they say they don't care. All right. Appreciate it, Naeem. See you guys tomorrow, 1 p.m. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Gotta go. Thank you for you YouTubers. Certainly those who have shown support of the program always helps. By the way, that's how I got the tablet, from folks showing support to the program, so I can now do fact checks, play YouTube videos when people say, he didn't say that. That didn't happen. I never heard about that. Boom, we can now fact check on the road because I have the devices actually broadcasting the show. So I went out and bought a secondary device to fact check on. So thank you folks who have supported the program over the days. We've been around for about 3 years, but program has grown exponentially over the last few months. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. See you guys tomorrow. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Gotta go.